Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jay Tate. I am publisher of AuburnSports.com. We're getting started here Saturday on May 9th, 2020. It is 7:06. Here, administrative assistant yelling, but she's not yelling at me. It is 7:06 in the Central Time Zone, 8:06 for our friends on the eastern section of the country. And welcome to the show, to tonight's show. We are going to be doing some talking. We're going to be doing some chatting. We'll be doing some drinking. We'll be doing some telephone calls. And, whatever else comes up, It's just kind of what we do on Saturday nights. Just remember, though, I doubt David the Wizard's on yet, but if we get David the Wizard on the show later, we want to make sure that we don't, push it on the Nikki Glazer thing, okay? Because I think he said he's got himself a little honey and honey in the house tonight, and he doesn't, he wants to keep that. That's a separate thing, and as he mentioned, it's a very slow play. Obviously, I mean, extremely slow play in my view, like as in several lifetimes. But whatever. Just a kind of a health report. So, you guys remember on the show last week, I was drinking the Larceny Barrel Proof, which was 123 proof. And you guys know I drink the stuff straight. It's just how I roll. It turns out that's too damn hot for me. So, man, my throat was killing me. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Started feeling better on Wednesday. Here we are Saturday. It's been a week. And I mean, it's still kind of iffy. So I have not had a sip of bourbon since our show last week. And we'll just kind of play it by ear. I have chosen to kind of dial down the proof a little bit. I mean, the only way to go up would be drinking like Everclear and gasoline just straight out of the tank. So today we're bringing in a new friend to the show. I was able to run across this bad boy through one of my friends, Justin O., who works at the tipping point here in Hampstead, which is my local watering hole in suburban Montgomery, Alabama, East Montgomery, Alabama. I'm actually toward the Troy Highway corridor, but I'm still trying to figure out our community identification now that we've moved out this way. But anyway, Justin O. hooked me up with some Colonel E.H. Taylor. I have not ever owned a bottle of this. It is not particularly expensive, but it can be difficult to find. It's been difficult for me to find. My friend Jason Morgan, who lives in Crestwood, Kentucky, was able to hook me up with some. It's been about, I don't remember when the last time I was over there, maybe a year ago, half a year ago. It is a Buffalo Trace product. It's part of the Buffalo Trace family. And Colonel E.H. Taylor, as I understand it, was their first master distiller at Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky. So we're going to try this tonight. It's 100 proof, so that's going to give me a little bit of a break. And in general, it's delicious bourbon. I'm pretty fired up about it. My friends on the on Reddit, I like Reddit, and my friends on R Bourbon, it's a subreddit just for bourbon. They tend to get a little pretentious over there, whatever. They did like a big March Madness bracket, and I know E.H. Taylor was a Final Four pick among, like realistic, and well, I went and had a single cask. I mean, just shit you can get at the store, right? And this did very, very well. And I could tell in the chat. Let's see. Canoe Man's a fan of that. D Lucky's a fan of that. I don't know about Corny, but so I'm gonna open this bad boy and we'll get this thing underway. I just got to figure out how I gonna do that. I gotta open up this bottle. There we go. Bye bye. See what we got here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Smells delicious. Let's get a little pour in here. We haven't really cleaned this one out, but it'll be all right. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we got the Colonel E.H. Taylor guys. This one goes out to our early starters. AU Tax Man's always here. Cleveland Brown, Canoe Man, D Lucky, Leif's here. Leif's always here, but he's a little bit earlier than I remember. But I'm glad you're here, bro. I was just watching footage from a game that was played earlier this year in Owensboro. It was Owensboro Catholic against. Is there an Owensboro High School? I always thought of it as Davis County, but because you got Apollo, Davis County. Anyway, it was a game from Owensboro. Anyway, so this is to all the real ones. You guys that are here already. Word. Oh yeah, it's not nearly as hot. That's good. It reminds me of Buffalo Trace. Honestly, it's just a good neutral, solid. Me bourbon. I like it. I would be okay if it was a little less hot. I mean, it's not like it was last week, but you know, that's a good pour there. I think under normal circumstances that would probably cost you about 50 to 55 maybe. You might find it a little bit less than that, but it's not super easy to find. It's kind of like Eagle Rare and Buffalo Trace, which I don't consider them like super, high level bourbons. They're delicious, but they're just kind of hard to find even though they're not expensive. I think it's more about Buffalo Trace and how much they can crank out. Every single year, man, they build a new warehouse that holds tons of barrels. Every single year, there's a new one. And I mean, they've got a whole valley of them there. So they're doing their very, very best. Let's see what we got. Corny says virgin smell. Absolutely. You got to get that whiff, Big Daddy. Let's see. Oh, I like that. Corny rolling out the red carpet for Leif. Glad to see that. Two titans of the show. Cameron A says Grizzly Adams 16 on deck. All right, word. Raven, JG, we're going to 1 a.m. 1 a.m. beaches. Get another bottle out. I've got more here if I need it. Got the Old Soul, of course, from Cathead. And I've got that gold label maker's mark that my granddad and my uncle had from the 80s. It's whatever happens. Dang, Corny, you're already getting a little rough there, bro. David the Wizard is in the house. Let's see. Leif says I'm in early because I'm driving my son around trying to get him to sleep. Yeah, back on that duty, huh? The duty. The booty duty. Word. Raven says, are we talking about the 18-year E.H. Taylor? No, we're talking about the small batch. A lot of times folks call it bottled and bond. I mean, it says bottled and bond on it. So that tells me what, it's 4-year, 3-year? This is not going to be super duper. I don't see. I don't think it has an age statement on it, Raven. But I think if it's bottled and bond, I can't remember if that's 3 or 4 years. Can't believe. And I'm not. Listen, man. I've told you guys I love me some bourbon, and I am a bourbon enthusiast to the core. But I am not somebody that goes around chasing bottles that are like super hard to find or super expensive. I'm just here to drink it, I do have. I'm not trying to lamp here. I do have a couple bottles that are worth more than $100 a piece, but I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't like drinking them because it's like this pull is going to cost me. I start doing the calculations in my head. Well, this pull is going to be $7 or whatever, and anyway. Canoe Man says, speaking of Cathead, thanks for the heads up about their sanitizer. Absolutely. I ordered some for the office. Yeah, you better have an office because when you order it, you got to basically buy a case, which I guarantee you it's good stuff. It's just that there's a lot there. It's $100 for a case, and I think you get 10 big-ass bottles, like this size. It's not that product, but it's like that size. So, I mean, you're going to have plenty. And if you got an office, perfect. Then you're going to have a need. And I think the need for that is going to go on for a while. So you're going to be good. Thank you for doing that, Canoe Man. I think you'll be satisfaction on that. AU Taxman says bottle and bond has to be at least 4 years. I knew there was a de facto age statement on bottle and bond, so there you go. 4 years. We'll go with 4. Like I said, I haven't been drinking a lot in the last week, so I'm not really feeling it or anything, so it's all good. I think we have some, and you guys probably know more than I do, I think we have some sports tonight. Let's see. Leif says, I'm sorry, Georgia Rebel says, our former Rebel is fighting on the UFC PPV tonight. That's great. I'm not really a fighter. I don't I don't like watching fighting, but I'm not like philosophically opposed to it. I just don't. It's just not my thing. And then we have NASCAR next weekend. They're going to be racing at Darlington. I'm pretty fired up about it. I think that's going to be a Sunday race. Typically, when they race at Darlington, it's on Mother's Day weekend, and they race on Saturday night. But I think they're just like a week off, I guess. 1 week forward or whatever. So that's what they'll do next week. Pretty fired up about that, actually. Kind of like NASCAR. You know, what happens is they get really fired up for the Daytona, and then the first few races after that kind of bore me. Because, you know, I mean, to me, like, regular racing's boring, like when they're at Atlanta or whatever. Because the way it works out, there's like a group of cars that get ahead of everybody, and then it's just kind of like that. On the super speedways, it's usually really close. It's more fun to me. Yeah. All right, so news this week. Ed, we're going to get to you here in a minute. Ed's asking a question about the wide receivers this year, which we need to go through and take a look at it because sometimes this stuff gets out of my head a little bit and I forget people. Yeah, Matt's making a good point. Says the pay-per-view tonight might do records. Yeah, people are starved for I mean, if they're watching Korean baseball, they're going to be starved for some UFC tonight. Yeah, that's the deal. Rob D asks only 5 rounds in the Major League Baseball draft this year. What is that all about? That is a complicated that's a complicated answer there, and I'm not sure I can give you a subjective answer to that because I think a lot of people look at it differently. I am a minor league baseball enthusiast myself, and I think that it is my opinion that Major League Baseball has been wanting to trim down the number of teams for a long time. And it's difficult to do that under normal circumstances. But in this situation, I think they're going to try to cut teams out and try to thin the herd, so to speak. And one of the ways you do that is you tighten up that draft and you tighten up the player pool so that these teams just can't get fitted with players. They're going to say that COVID, and they're not wrong, that the COVID has severely affected monetization for Major League Baseball organizations, and they don't have the money to pay everybody. It's also worth noting, you mentioned the 5 rounds thing, changing it from 50 to 5 rounds. But they also put a very low cap on the maximum amount of money you can pay someone a bonus who is not drafted. And I think it's like $150K. It could be $250K. It's somewhere in that range. And so that, for the majority of kids that get drafted after like the 15th round, that's probably not a big deal. But there are a lot of kids that go between, let's say, round 6 and round 15. That's an area I know right off the bat that Jake Peavy went in. I think he was in the 6th round, maybe. And I don't know. I get a real skeevy feeling about it. I don't like the way it's been handled. And I do feel like the minor leagues they're being cut out. Not all of them. I mean, those of us who live here in the state and you guys go to Birmingham games or Biscuits games or Bay Bears, Trash Pandas, whatever, that's not going to be affected. It's going to be like Salem Kaiser and it's going to be definitely some stuff like much smaller than that. Georgia Rebel says it's $20K for non-drafted guys. God, I somehow missed that part of it. That is extremely low. So if you're like a 6, let's say you're projected to go in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th round, and all of a sudden you're in a range where you think you're going to get, $500,000 or $350,000 or maybe more depending on the deal, and all of a sudden you got it down to $20K. Whoa, that is a big, big, big drop. So I don't like where they're going with this. EU Taxman says Marlins and O's need to get relegated to the minors. Well, you're talking to a English soccer enthusiast here, so I am completely on board with relegation, but I don't think Americans are in general. I think you're just kidding, but honestly, it would be cool if they did that because you're right. The Marlins have thrashed their own organization to the point that they should be relegated, and the Omaha Storm Chasers would probably be just as good as the Marlins. War Eagle 0008, one of our superstars here of late. Says, glad to be here. Me and my friends are bourbon drinkers and would like to be able to pick up on flavor profiles better. How would you recommend a relative novice learn to appreciate? Yeah, I mean, I love some bourbon now, and I'm a big enthusiast, but I'm not sure I can really, give you the nuanced stuff like that. I just don't. I just kind of drink it and try to remember what it tastes like. I mean, you can kind of. Here's some that I think are way out on edges. Like, David the Wizard says soccer's trash. That's like the coldest take you could possibly throw at me right now, David. All right, so you've got like types of tastes, right? You've got like a super, super oaky taste. Some of them are really oaky. To me, Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. That's the oakiest mainstream bourbon you can have. There's people who will drink that and say, man, I love this shit. That is so good. And there's other people like me that are like, man, this tastes like ass. And it's just because it's too oaky. Hey, Bridget, what's going on? I'm glad to see Bridget W. in the house. I spent a lot of time with Bridget's hubby. Yesterday, J-Dub and I went on a road trip through South Alabama. And Bridget was a lot of fun. More fun than I would have ever expected. We also got Avery in the house. Word. Avery. MVP All-Star. I was on the Oxford Exxon podcast last night because I think some folks were asking for me to be on. I didn't understand why. I don't really understand what my relevance is to the Oxford show. But anyway, I did hop on, but I was playing Warzone with subscribers. I was playing with it was F and Tiger, and I played with AU Milo, and I played with Double D's, and I played with one other member, and I forgot who it was. It was Tiger Time, 099 or something like that. So that's why I wasn't skipping over there. Anyway, going back to the bourbon thing. Okay, so Double Oaked Woodford Reserve is super oaked. So if you taste that, maybe it hits you really good, maybe it doesn't. To me, Russell's Reserve, which is like it has a red label. I don't have it here in front of me. It's a Wild Turkey product. To me, that is super sweet. It tastes kind of cherryish and really sweet. I like that. But if you hit that and you're like, damn, that's too sweet, then you know that you want to go the other direction. Usually a rye product, you'll see things that are like this so-and-so rye, Sazerac rye, Whistle Pig rye. Those tend to be spicier. And then you can kind of something, I was just talking about this on the board with Philippe Gabon today. Kentucky Vintage, if you ever see that, that is a Willet product. And to me, that is the best novice basic bourbon you can get. It's a good bourbon, but it's just neutral. And I think you can drink that, and I think you can almost choose your own adventure in that. You can taste it and say, hey, I kind of like this part of it or that part of it because it's not really out there very far. I feel like that's a great one to kind of just sip on and say, hey, I like this or I don't. Maker's Mark is one that, like, to me is just super heavy on the front end. You drink it and it just punches you right in the face. And then something like this Colonel Taylor or Blanton's has a really slow burn where it's very soft on the front end and then it's harsher on the back end. You just kind of have to find the one that fits you best. And you should really enjoy the search because that's the fun part of it. Bridget says, so glad he could show you around. Mother-in-law loved you. Yeah, so my friend J-Dub, I'm not trying to rat him out or whatever, but he's been my buddy for a long, long time. He grew up down in Lower Alabama, and we had talked about going down there and just meeting his mom and stuff, seeing where he grew up, because he grew up in a much different world than I did. And so we finally got to go yesterday, and I met his mom, and I saw his house where he grew up, and saw his school, and saw where his dad's buried, and all. And man, it sounds kind of silly, right? You're like, oh, who cares? But I don't know. I care. It was fun. Spent a whole day down there, and it was really, really awesome. So that was really fun. AU Taxman always has some great suggestions on bourbon. He says Old Forester Rye is the best value rye. I have not had that. I am generally a fan of Old Forester. They have some great, what do they call that? Those row products, the ones that each one of them has a different color on the neck. I think it's, AU Taxman will know what that is. Distiller's Row or something like that. Those are all really good. They have a light blue, a dark blue, a red, and a green. They're all really good. And my man J Dub, by the way, really likes the Old Forester Statesman, which I find a little harsh, but it's good. Lay says if you can find some JW Dant, that's a really decent $15 bottle of bourbon. I have not seen that here. Unfortunately, Leif, we're owned by the state. Our liquor sales are run by the state, so I don't think they're hustling really to try to find stuff for us to drink that's cool and unusual. So we get mostly just basic stuff. And if you don't know somebody, you'll never get the really good stuff unless you win the lottery. That's just the reality of it down here. Whiskey Row is what the taxman says. So that's the stuff, the Old Forester stuff. And to those of you who are kind of wanting to break into bourbon, I think those are a really good starting point too. The Old Time Bourbon, no, Old Time Whiskey, which I think is the blue one. That's a really good, it's a good one. But Kentucky Vintage, if you can find it, that would be a great one to start with. Georgia Rebel says 1792 is a solid cheap. Absolutely. 1792, you can't go wrong. Yeah, you can find those in pretty much everywhere. ABC's got those stocked almost all the time, and those are delicious bourbons, and they're generally not too expensive. I've got some Foolproof that I picked up last week, which I really like that. Even though it's hot, it didn't kill me like Larceny did. My God. David the Wizard is in the house. So, yo, question: what should me and my girl get our moms for Mother's Day? Maybe an ice cream cake. Would that work? You can go to Carvel's and get you a cookie puss. Give that to your mom. I don't know. My mom's really hard to buy for, so what we're doing for her is we're bringing the brunch to her, and we're gonna do that. Yeah. Leif Benson makes a great point. Although you never know if people can do this, but he says the best way to learn about bourbon is to go to a distillery in Kentucky, then go to a nice bourbon bar and ask questions. If you go to the Willett Distillery, which is where I went in Bardstown, Kentucky, first of all, they're a distillery. You can ask questions there, and they have a bourbon bar, and you can ask questions there. I learned a lot of stuff there. Really enjoyed that. So, word. Love talking about bourbon. I'm glad to see you guys are fired up about it, too. As far as Auburn goes, not a lot going on last week. A couple of things I wanted to touch on real quick. Dylan Cardwell committed to Auburn basketball. He is a forward out of McEachern in Powder Springs, Georgia. He is also the nephew of Rodney Garner. Just in a random... Corny Mofo knows where I'm going with that cookie puss thing. That's what Fred got his mom back in the 80s, and Stern absolutely ripped him up, man. They were just killing him about the cookie puss for years. Hell, you occasionally will hear him bring it up again. I was just kidding. That's not a great thing to get your mom, but yeah. Anyway, so Dylan Cardwell commits. He's a really good player. I think in a normal world, in a Jeff Lebo world or a Tony Barbie world, or even a Cliff Ellis world, for the most part, Dylan Cardwell would be a number one recruit at Auburn. You know what I mean? Like he's good enough to play at Auburn now, which is a credit to him, but he's not like the superstar badass 5-star guy. He's more of a 4-star guy. I have not seen as much of him. I just go by what Jeffrey says. And it looks like he's going to be he's going to be a stretch four and a guy that plays down in the post a little bit. He looks thinner, means he's bouncier, and he gets out in transition. Kind of like Chris Moore does. He's a 6'6" guy. I'm talking about Chris Moore from Arkansas or West Memphis, which I guess is the same. A little undersized, but a guy who gets out in transition, and he rebounds well for his size. And he's just, he's a 4 in the Bruce Pearl system, I think. Could play 3, although he's not a shooter, really. But anyway, yeah, let me bring that up real quick. I have the signing class here for basketball. And that's what they've got so far. Obviously, Sharif is the crown jewel of the class, a tremendous point guard. At this point, not an elite shooter, but he's extremely quick. He's very competitive, and he likes to go to the hole. And I also think he's a very good passer. So he's got a lot going for him. And you're going to see a lot of him next year. He's going to be playing a lot. Sharif. Justin Powell is the shooting guard from Goshen, Kentucky, Oldham County High School. A kid that he's a shooter. He's going to be a shooter. That's what he does. Think of him as like the modern day high level Scotty Bowman. I mean, that's kind of what I see of him. Yeah, I mean Scotty wasn't a very good defender, and I think Justin can act. I think he actually has a decent ceiling for defense. I mean, that's not really why he's here. He's here because he's a shooter and a scorer, but he's going to be a good player. He's going to be playing too. JT Thor. It's amazing that BP can do the things he did with JT Thor, where they were just like cold calling that kid like 3 or 4 months ago. Like, hey, man, are you interested? And he was like, well, I've been talking to all these other schools, but yeah, hell, why not? And they ended up signing him too. Same deal there. He's like a stretch 4, could be a 5. Probably he might be a 5 with Pearl. Long, transition, bouncy, goes to the hole, plays really hard. Definitely not like back to the basket dude. I mean, the days of seeing Austin Wiley are over. I don't think you'll see another one like that. They did try to get the kid that wound up going to North Carolina, whose name escapes me, Walker. He was going to probably be more of a back to the basket guy, but again, weird situation there. Chris Moore, I mentioned earlier, 6'6", 200. If you looked at him, you probably wouldn't think he was going to be a power forward because he doesn't really look like one. I mean, he's shorter and he's not big. I like him because he just hustles and he just finds ways to score. He's not a particularly skilled player. He's just gets there. He gets it done. He's got some moves under the basket. He gets out in transition much better than people of his size, most kids his size. And then he hustles around the bucket. I think he'll end up being a rim runner, more or less. And then you got Dylan Cardwell at 6'11". I thought of him as more of a 4, but obviously at 6'11", you're probably thinking center on him. And he's pretty quick for a guy that size. So it's an interesting class. I still think there's going to be somebody else. I think they're going to add another person. And if they do add another person, that means that in all likelihood somebody's going to have to leave from the current team. You know, I don't know if that would be – I just don't want to speculate on what the deal is there. But I think they're still on the lookout for somebody. I personally think that they need another shooting guard. But, you know, because I don't – you know, Justin Powell, is he going to be good? Hell yeah. But, I mean, is he ready to go right now? I don't know. Probably not. One man's opinion. We got a couple super chats coming through. Austin Majors, thank you very much for that. Says if AU has 8 or more wins, can Gus win a bowl game? Yeah. I think so. He's not necessarily a big bowl game winner as a rule, but yeah, he can. War Eagle 0008 says, thanks for the bourbon tips and for the show. Absolutely, man. I know tips better than anybody. And I love talking about bourbon, and there's lots of other folks here. I mean, A-Tex Man and Leif, and there's a bunch of other people who know their bourbon as well. So, yeah. This is a great place. If you want to talk bourbon, it's a good group here. Some folk here know what they're talking about. Yo. AU Taxman said, how is the NCAA going to address G-League poaching verbal commits at the last minute? This is going to be a problem. Actually, F and Tiger asked me that when we were playing Call of Duty the other day, and I know it's going to get addressed. I just don't know how. I don't know how they're going to do it yet. But it needs to be addressed. I personally think it's cool. I think if these kids can go get paid, they might as well go. But I do want to say this. Let's not get carried away about, because you've already seen some national reporters say, oh, you know, this is going to be so bad and all these kids are going to leave and college basketball is blah, blah, blah. It's sanctimonious bullshit. There's not going to, first of all, we don't even know if this little experiment's going to work, okay? Maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. Maybe Jalen and the other kids that went, the kid that was going to go to Duke is with them as well. If those guys, if this works out, if they go to the G-League, and assuming the G-League plays, right, instead of the virus shutting things down even longer than we expected, assuming he plays, let's see how he develops. Let's see if Rod Strickland and some of the other guys that are in G-League that will help his instruction, if they do, in fact, get him ready or readier for the NBA so that when the draft comes along in 2021, that those teams are like, you know what, I like the refinement I've seen from Jalen in the last year in the G-League, and I really like the way this has worked out. Well, if it's that deal, then, yeah, they'll keep doing it. Maybe they'll be like, hey, he looks more or less the same player I had before. Why are we playing this game like this? Why are we doing this? So it could go either way. unless this goes in a way that I don't foresee, it's not going to be a ton of kids doing this. I mean, at this point, you're looking at 3 or 4. Maybe the most would be 10 in a year. I mean, it's not like the G-League is going to be full of players right out of high school. I don't see that happening because there's a lot of other dudes that would be higher in the pecking order from a developmental standpoint. So although Auburn got stung by this year in Texas and Memphis, you know, doesn't mean it's just all the kids are going to leave. It's not. That's not going to happen. Corny Mofo with a super chat. Thank you, Corny. Our number one poster in all of Nevada. Says Bidet Bros, such a delight. Yeah, I think Big Jam had a post earlier about how there's so many bros now. I mean, you've got the bros this and the bros that. I mean, you got the COVID bros and the death bros and the mask bros and all that stuff, and the bidet bros. Hadn't thought about that. I didn't know that was an actual segment. Yes. Rob Donaldson says, will any of Coach Thompson's boys make it into the MLB draft? I'd have to ask Brian on that one. I don't know how that changes, you know, with the draft having such an incredible different look on it this year. I don't know how that affects what's going on over there. I really hope they make money, though. I hope every kid that leaves makes a bunch of money. AU Taxman correctly asserts that 5 years ago we would have been doing backflips for a signee like Cardwell. Absolutely. Yes. I think he's going to be a player. It's just he's going to be a guy that needs a little time, and that's fine. You know, we're not – remember, keep remembering that Bryce needed a full career to get going, ended up being a tremendous player. Jared needed 3 years to get going. He really wasn't good until his junior year. And Bryce, to me, was just replacement level player until midway through his junior year. So it takes kids a little while. We can't all expect them to come in. I mean, Chuma was just so-so as a freshman. He's a tremendous player. He just absolutely, just like the light turned on about 10 games into his sophomore year. I mean, it just takes some time, guys. Just don't expect everybody to have, you know, come in with a Superman cape on and everything will be fine. Let's see what we got. Webb Moore's in the house. This is hello, JG. Webb, my man. One of our friends from Rebel Grove in the house. Let's see. War Eagle says, I mentioned in Crane's thread, we're glad to see Jake Crane around, by the way, that this is a way for Nike to pay less in shoe contracts to the elite kids. Zion blows up and gets $75 million. They could pay a lot less and lock kids in early without the exposure. Interesting point. The shoe companies certainly have a ton of pull in the basketball world, but they don't have enough pull to put their finger in the chest of the NBA and tell them what to do. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to a number of factors, and I'm sure the shoe companies are going to try to assert their dominance over it, but Adam Silver's been a guy who, if he's ready to push back, he'll push you back. I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't read enough about it. Kyle Wyndham says Jared was good in 2018. Let's take a look. We'll go to the big board on that one. Maybe I just forgot stuff. All right, Auburn Tigers, Jared Harper. Oh, he didn't play this year. That's why he's not on the list, guys. Smarty right there. Yeah, I'm not saying he's terrible or anything. He's good. But remember, Jared was the guy that, like, he was still learning. His sophomore year, he was like all or nothing. He would have games where he just completely disappeared and games where he was totally ineffectual. I mean, think about this, dude. NCAA tournament. This is the year before they had the really good run. They play College of Charleston in the first round, and he scores 6. Second round, they play Clemson. He scores 5. Okay, so when they need him the most, he scored a grand total of 11 points in 2 games. That's not great. I'm not sitting here shitting on the kid. Look, man, Jared Harper's awesome. But he was still kind of finding his way. Now, he had some great games. Look at it. He had 24 at Georgia in a win. He had 21 at home against Alabama in a win. But then he has the game at Florida late in the year, 8 points. I mean, 3 of 10 shooting. Yeah, no. But man, he was insane that last year. Really, really good. Web M, appreciate you, man. Super chat coming through. JG, please call into hand raise guys next Thursday. We have to endure 15 minutes of Jeffrey. You called him Jeremy, right? Ranting about nothing. Would love for you to do a call in for G-Pit so Bubba could call in. Best to you and the family, Web. Web, appreciate you very much. One of our best friends on the East Coast. And a Rebel Grover under normal circumstances, but we love having him here and also on the G-Pit. So appreciate you, Web, very much. Yeah, I kind of like playing Call of Duty on Thursdays. But, I mean, look, man, if they really want me on, I'll do whatever Neil wants. I don't know about Chance the Yapper, but, whatever. I did when I was on. Jeffrey Wright was on. Everybody in the chat was like, "Please get to the point. Would you just say something, please?" And I mean, I really like Jeffrey. The times I've talked to him, he hasn't really done that. But it does seem that when he's on the hand raise guys, it's just he's a little too loquacious, I guess. Oh boy. Lay says, holy shnikes, did anyone see the guy's eye from the fight on the UFC fight just now on ESPN? God, I hope nobody got seriously injured. I was worried for those folks. Canoe Man says, Jared was inconsistent his first 2 seasons. That was the knock on him. He added consistency every year and was all around solid his junior season. Oh, yeah. And remember his ridiculous range? He got to where he was hitting, 28-footers, just no problem. It was amazing to watch him. And you just have to give him some time, man. That's all. He was right on schedule. It's just you can't expect these kids to be superstars right out of the gate. And I think it's a mistake to think Sharif's going to be that way. Is Sharif a 5-star guy? Well, hell yeah, because he's super quick. And he's just a smart basketball player. But, I mean, do I think he's going to come in and be John Wall? I don't. It's hard, man. Anyway. Let's see I'm sure there's some stuff I missed on here. KW says, otherwise known as Crocodile. What's up, JGD and Bunker Bros? Glad to have you, Crocodile, in the hizzle. I am going to go ahead and turn on Skype. I forgot to turn it on. In case some folks want to call in. You guys know the number. Those of you who are on the bunker, you know what I'm talking about. And, of course, I'm here to take calls. Would love to hear from David the Wizard. Of course, we just like to know how he's doing. I know he's really fired up about this gal he's hanging out with tonight. So we obviously we're pulling for him there, and for all you guys out there who are just kind of fighting, scratching and surviving, we're pulling for you too. Hell yeah! Hopefully I won't miss these calls. Sometimes it's kind of hard on my screen. I am still endeavoring to get a new computer where I can lay it out by itself and won't miss it all the time. Let's see. Ed's asking me again, what do you expect out of the wide receivers this year? Okay. We got a call coming in. Ed, don't forget, man. I will not forget. I'm going to write that down. Hey, caller, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Jay?
Word, who I got?
This is Against the Spread.
Hey, what up, bro?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Well, another day in paradise, and I'm glad to have you on the horn. Are you watching any UFC tonight?
No, I just got done getting my ass kicked in Warzone for a little bit, so taking a breather.
So what went wrong?
What didn't go wrong? I always get – so if I don't play with people I know, if I'm just playing with random people, they don't know what the hell's going on, and they just jump all over the place, and nobody works together. You got to have a squad.
You do have to have a squad. Are you in the regiment? Yeah. We have a AU Rivals regiment on there. Are you in that?
I'm not in it. I need to get in, though. I was just posting in that thread looking to see if anybody was online.
Yeah, S. Lee will, if you just send him a direct message on the bunker, he'll get you into the regiment. And then when you do that, it's real easy for you to kind of hook up with people that are on and stuff. And I'm on quite a bit. So
cool. Yeah, I won my first one like Tuesday or Wednesday night. And I'm sad to admit that the buzz that you get from doing that, it's like winning the Iron Bowl, man. It's like you get a freaking rush. It was wild.
Was it a solo or were you playing with other people?
No, I was with some friends, so right. Yeah, we won. It was good stuff.
I finished second today in a solo, and it came down to like me just going head up with another dude, and I mean it was whoever had the last bullet, and it wasn't me. So it was frustrating, but
it's intense, especially for the olds like you. So kudos for that.
Yeah, okay, get your old shot in there. Yeah. Anything else? What else is going on, man?
I'm done for the night. So I feel like I'm the resident basketball pessimist, but I got to play my role, I guess.
Don't be that way, man.
I know. I think I'm a realist, but it comes through as pessimism. But here's what I want to ask you.
Sure.
So, if you're being objective and you're looking at this team, right, for next year, with what we have on board right now, at the 2 and 3 spot, do you think those 2 spots are good enough to be a conference championship contender?
Well, I think you have to look at it, the whole squad. So work with me here because I don't have it in front. I don't have it on my head. I'm bad about that. I got to look it up on a list. I mean, who are we looking at here? We got Sharif at 1, right?
Yeah.
And
Cambridge, Flanagan, Jalen, Stretch.
Okay. I don't know. That doesn't strike me as a great group there. I mean, because Devin was good like what, every third or fourth game this year?
At home only, yeah.
And I mean, he'll be better next year because he's had a long time to kind of refine his game under the watchful eye of that great staff. So I mean, he's going to be better, but is he an every night guy? Not yet. I happen to be kind of higher on Stretch than a lot of people. I think he's insane. Insanely talented and very bouncy and way ahead of where I thought he would be. So I think he can be good. And then who are the other ones?
Jalen, I guess, starting 4, I guess. And then Flanagan.
Yeah, I love Al's spirit. And nobody works harder than Al. But his 3-point shot is jacked, right? I mean, it's just not very good.
It is. I mean, to me, it's like, so I agree with you. Stretch is like the perfect Bruce Pearl big man,
right,
I think.
He is.
I mean, he's just going to be like high energy, going nuts. It's going to be fun to watch him. The thing is like if you don't get production from the 2 and 3 spot, I mean, do you think about all of the big wins that we've had? It was with really good, shooting guard play. And I mean, no disrespect to Cambridge. I think he's a fine 6th man or like a role player, when he's hot and streaky, because he definitely got streaky.
No doubt. But
I mean, I don't know if you're looking night in and night out for him to be the go-to guy there. I don't know, and that's kind of Bruce's MO. I mean, we've been cranking out some serious talent at the 2, and I mean, Jalen Green would have been phenomenal, obviously.
Absolutely.
But so I don't know. I'm not sold on it being a super high potential like postseason team. I think they'll be on the bubble. I don't know if that's, maybe I'm just being too pessimistic, but I think they'll be on the bubble. But I had another question for you in terms of hoops. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm here for you, man.
Recruiting wise, so some of these like 5 stars we've been after.
Sure.
It seems like there's been a weird list of schools that we're in the final group with. Like when you go against 5-star, go up for 5 stars, normally you're against the Dukes, Kentuckys, UNCs, right? Yeah. And it just seems like it's the ones that we get after are like have a weird list of finalists. And I just wanted to see if you had any perspective on that.
I haven't really noticed that. I need to take a little bit of a deeper look at that against the spread. And I should just know that stuff right off the top of my head, but I don't. So I'll endeavor to do that and get back with you on the board about it, because that's interesting if true. I know that Chris Moore was a good example, because Chris Moore was basically Auburn, Arkansas, and a bunch of schools that you were like, who the hell is that? I mean, so he's one that sticks out to me a little bit, but.
Yeah, well, not Greg Brown. I know he's from Texas, but Texas was in his final group. Memphis was in there for these guys. You didn't see the big dogs that you're normally like, oh crap, we got to go against Kentucky or Duke. Now Sharif was obviously, but like BJ Boston, for example, was in that group. But just it seems like we were up against some kind of weird non-traditional powerhouses.
Yeah, JT Thor wasn't JT. It was like Auburn and Rutgers or something like that.
No, that was the Cliff guy, I think.
Cliff Omarui, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been against like Arizona State, Oregon. There's just been a weird group of schools that we were heads up against. And I mean, I'll take Bruce Pearl, most of those battles.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but I don't know, that was just one thing that I thought was kind of odd.
It is a little bit odd. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the team before, because I feel like I was missing stuff. So they lose Samir, Austin, Javon, Okoro, Purifoy. God bless, man. Anthony.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dudes to lose, man. And then Jamal's kind of shown us that Jamal's just, he's like a 7th guy,
I could get out there and D somebody out better than Jamal right now. I believe that.
As a coach told me one time, like, they can't all be assholes. Like, Jamal's a really good kid, so you got to keep him in there.
Yeah.
I think Jalen's tremendous. I think Jalen's going to be super good. He's got that left-handed stroke. I think he can drive.
Yeah.
I think he can. I know he can shoot threes. He's going to be a badass. So
Where
it comes
does Turbo
down to.
fit in? Is Turbo going to be? I mean, I guess he's default backup point guard, right? But I mean, is he going to get time at 2?
I think they would rather see him at 2 all the time. I don't think they trust him at point. And I just don't know. I don't see how he fits in here long term, but I could be wrong. Because, I mean, if you're going to be a short 2, you better have something really special about you.
Yeah.
And I haven't noticed that yet. I mean, Bryce was a short 2. He's taller than Turbo. He was an elite 3-point shooter. I don't think Ty is. So I don't really know where he fits in, man. And the kid that was sitting out last year, I forget his name now.
Javon Franklin.
Yeah, I don't really know where he fits in either. I just don't. I feel like he was a flyer, and it hasn't worked out to this point, and I just don't know what they feel like they've got in him. I don't hear about him very much, so.
Yeah.
Some of these new
that's
kids.
what I was kind of wondering. I mean, I know there's been a lot of Josh Langford smoke lately, which I think would be a fun piece of the puzzle. Add somebody who's got some experience to this squad because we need that pretty bad.
Yeah, if he's willing to come, sure. But he's also a guy that's been hurt so much. I don't know if athletically he's what he was. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, is he better than Devin? Maybe.
Even if you bring him on for the leadership, I mean, you need who's the most experienced guy we got on this team right now?
Your leader on this team, Al Flanagan, would probably be the leader of this
Isn't
group.
that scary? I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're just not going to be quite as good next year, I don't think. I just don't see it.
See what I did? I just crapped all over this team. I hate that about myself.
Well,
look at that.
I'm
excited.
Man.
I trust Bruce. I do. But there's a lot of holes that I see, and I'm a little nervous about it.
We didn't get a chance to see this team finish is what sucked, this current team. I thought they were moving up, but we didn't get a chance to see them finish. And if they had gotten into the tournament and wrecked shop like I thought they were going to do, then you would just be like, hey, man, this is the price. The next season's team is the price you pay for getting to the top. You're going to have to slow down a little bit and restock. And I think that's what they're doing. But I don't think you're shitting on them. I think you're just being realistic about it.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point. How long did Auburn go without a freaking NBA draft pick? And then we get 2 lottery picks in a row, and we don't get to see either one of them finish out the postseason the way that they should have. I mean, that's bad luck. But I mean,
bad luck. Yeah.
It would have been a fun March. I think. I don't think this team would have gotten out of the first weekend of the tourney, but it would have been just to get in again and be there and get those young guys get their feet wet a little bit.
Yeah,
would have been great. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching Okoro in the league. Hopefully, he lands on the Hawks.
I disagree. I think this team was going to wreck shop in the postseason. They had so much experience. And Samir is a big-time player. I mean, when the pressure's on, Samir usually fucking sacks up. I just said a bad word. True. I shouldn't have. And D'Angelo, same deal. Like, we've been waiting on him all year, and I just think he was going to sack up. He was starting to show some signs of life, and Isaac obviously is a beast. And, I mean, I just felt like it was coming together for him.
Galen came on a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved I'm crapping on his name now. Point guard. What was his name?
Current one, Javon?
Yeah, I loved Javon last year as the energy guy. Like he played that role perfectly. Like, as coming in, give a little spark off the bench as a 6th man. Like he played that perfectly last year. I was not a huge fan of him running the point full time, and I thought our offense looked really weird when he would get kind of out of sync when someone would just put a little pressure on him, and then the set got messed up, and it just seemed like I was not looking forward to seeing that in the postseason.
Well, yeah, if you were going to take on elite teams with elite point guard defense, it was going to be a problem because he didn't like having people up his business, Yeah, that was a real problem for him. But there weren't a lot of teams that had that kind of a defender, though. I mean, Michigan State did, and Duke did, but I mean, the people that they would have been facing in the first, let's say 3 or 4 games, probably weren't going to have guys like that. I don't know.
And that's true, yeah. So you can clearly tell that I went to Auburn during the Lebo era, and so I just expect something terrible to happen at all times. So
I understand.
I haven't fully been condition for Bruce yet, which, I mean, the way he's raising the bar is just absolutely incredible.
Well,
so,
Uncle Bruce has
him.
you now, okay? Uncle Bruce has you covered, and it's going to be okay, man.
I have faith. Believe it or not, I have faith. I do.
Hey, man, great call, dude. Great call. Appreciate you, bro.
All right,
be good.
Warzone, buddy.
All right, man.
All right.
See ya. Good stuff there, man. I love that. He's really fired up about basketball, and that's a good thing to be fired up about because, like I said, Uncle Bruce has your back, bro. You don't have to worry about this Lebo stuff or this, the sad seasons of Barbie. Those days are over, and even with them, the roster's going to be exceptionally young next year. I still think they find a way to be at least pretty good. Yeah. I missed a lot of chatting going on in here while we were talking to Against the Spread. Great call, by the way. Webb Moore, I want to thank you again for your super chat. That was awesome. Canoe Man jokes that Jared got to Kareem Canty range. I was watching an interview with Kareem the other day. I'm watching it again, actually. I was so fascinated by Kareem Canty. I wish I could talk to him again. I mean, I can, but I wish he was around or whatever. Very interesting dude. Oh, Ed Darby was asking about the wide receivers. What do we expect out of the wide receivers this year? I've got to actually – you guys think I'm kidding. I just got to look at this stuff. I just can't. What happens is if I'm like, oh, let's talk about the wide receivers, I'll forget somebody. And it'll be an important part of the group here. So I'm going to go and take a look at all of those position players so I don't forget anybody. And we can kind of take a look at what they've really got there. Oh, man, I don't want that. I don't want that right there. My man Mike does these rosters for Auburn. Sometimes I want to kick him in the face, but other times I really like him. Just depends, I guess. All right, wide receivers. In no order here. They've still got, let's see, Anthony Schwartz, obviously. You feel really good about him for one more year anyway. With the Olympics kind of up in the air, I mean, I don't know how that's going to affect him. I've told you guys before, I mean, obviously he's an incredibly fast runner. I mean, he's twice as fast as I'll ever be, or 3 times as fast as I'll ever be, or whatever. But I'm just not sure he's going to be, I'm not sure he's quite an Olympic-level sprinter. I mean, he should chase his dreams and stuff, but I think he's a hell of a football player. He should probably stick with this. He can make more money doing this. Anthony Schwartz, so he's on the outside. You feel good about that. And Seth on the outside, you feel really good about him. He's a really good player. Matthew Hill, I don't know what they're going to do with him yet. Haven't figured it out. There's been some talk about him going to defense. I don't know. Who else we got here? Zach Farrar. I don't even know how to quantify him. I feel like he's a decent player. And when I hear reports from inside, they're good. But then he doesn't play very much. And he ends up coordinating with Cord all the time. He's like, well, he and Cord are doing great work out there. And I'm like, okay. Eli. I like Eli. He's a really good kid. Fast kid, straight line kid. They were using him as an end-around guy when he was at his very best. They prefer other people in that role now. Backup guy to me. Shedrick Jackson, good blocker. He reminds me of that kid that the kid that came from the Army family that played in he was from Birmingham. I just can't remember his name. He played there like 6 or 7 years ago. He reminds me of that kid. Just good blocker, tough player, not a lot of explosiveness, but a good player. And a guy they're going to feel really good about having on the field. I'm not sure you and I would, but they love his toughness, and Cody's big on that, and Gus is big on that, and they feel like he brings a physical edge. And then, like Jay Sean, I don't really know what to tell you about him. He was hurt last year, and I don't really know where he fits. Javarius Johnson, I think, is going to be going to defense. So, that dude's, what you got there. And then it's going to be the guys coming in. A lot of times you can get a freshman to help you at wide out if it's like 1 or 2. I've been disengaged from football for so long. Kobe Hudson, good player, probably not ready to do that right now in my eyes. J.J. Pegues, who is not a wide receiver per se, but you better watch. He's not a wide receiver, but they're going to find something for him to do. Gus is just too eat up with that kid. But they're going to find a way. I don't know if he'll be like a tight end or it'll be like an H or a wildcat or something. I bet you they figure something out. Brandon Frazier, they are absolutely eat up with that kid. I mean, you'd have to go back a couple years. I can't remember the last wide receiver. They were absolutely okay. Brandon Frazier's not a wide receiver; he's a tight end. But to me, he's a receiver, right? He's going to be a pass catcher. You have to go back a ways before I come up with a player at that receiver position that they've been so eat up with, as they are Brandon Frazier. They feel like he's going to be like badass, like right out of the gate. Like he might be a guy that gets 20 catches next year, or 25. J.J. Evans, probably a little bit of a project. I'm just shooting here, guys. Xavion Capers, like the size. Elijah Canyon, like the size. If I was putting money down, though, Brandon Frazier's going to be your breakout star, and Seth's going to be a stud, and Scoot's going to be a stud. That's how I feel about it. Ed Darby says Malzahn doesn't utilize their receiver skills. It's a good point. He is underachieved, I think, with his wideouts. I mean, look at Darius, man. Darius is really good in the NFL. And he was just kind of solid. Ed Darby says 25 for the whole year. Brother, you got to remember something. First of all, he's a freshman, and Gus doesn't like freshmen usually. And second of all, he's a tight end. And Gus doesn't use tight ends. So I am comfortable now, having spoken with Gus as many times as I have off the record about stuff, that he actually is going to throw to the tight end this year because that's what homie does, and that's what they're going to do. That's what Chad wants to do, and that's how it's going to go down. And this Brandon Frazier is the kid that Chad wanted to, he's like a tight end enthusiast, Chad is, and this is the best tight end in the entire country from Chad's perspective. Number one. This is the one dude that Chad had to have last year, and he went out and got him, okay? That's a hell of a lot of catches for a freshman tight end at Auburn. Just trying to keep it in perspective there, bro. D. Lucky says Chad likes tight ends. Absolutely. That's going to be the biggest difference between what you see this year versus last year. Tight ends are going to matter. It's going to be Brandon. It's going to be Luke Deal, and it may be Fromm as well. And it's going to be John Samuel will have a chance to do more of that. He was used more as an H last year. I think you'll see him flanked out a little bit more. I think that kid's a tremendous athlete. And we were all blown away by how good he was at baseball. We knew he was good in high school. I mean, he's really good. Borderline elite baseball player in high school. And then he just picks up a bat this year, and he was raking. And he was really doing some impressive stuff on the field. His future may be in baseball. I don't know. But I think he can play, and I think he'll get a chance to get more opportunities with Chad. Hey, caller, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Tate, what's up, brother?
Word. Who I got on the horn?
You know who this is.
Is this Stretch Armstrong?
Nah, man, it's Hunter.
Oh, hey, what up, man? Golly, you sound like Stretch on the phone.
And I don't know Stretch, so I don't know how to take that.
No, he's a cool dude, man. He's real cool. He was a wide receiver, though. He was a wide out and you're a linebacker and, different worlds. Hey, I know you're out doing something tonight, though. Did you find a way to break out a little bit?
Yeah, man, I just slipped off to the side a little bit.
Oh, word. Yeah. Hey, we were just talking about Auburn. You believe that Chad is going to have a big hand in what goes on in this offense, right?
I do, man, wholeheartedly.
And you believe that tight ends are going to be relevant at Auburn for the first time in a generation, right?
Man, I may just be an optimist, but I really think if Gus can seize as much control as we're made to believe he's going to, definitely.
All right.
I mean, even if you look at like Cheyenne O'Grady, who wasn't a stud last year at Arkansas by any means, pretty good ball player, the amount of targets that he got.
Yeah, that's that life at Arkansas these last few years have been tight ends have had a nice go of it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
What else you want to talk about with football, man? Because that is kind of your thing, and you know as much defense as anybody I know. Kevin Steele,
I'm,
beast.
Missing spring training, withdrawals, and I know everybody worships at the altar of Bruce Pearl, and we hated that we missed out on March Madness. But man, I'm ready to see some football. I'm ready to be part of some football again.
Yeah, and you missed spring drill so much, didn't you? I mean, you coaches love that stuff.
Oh my gosh, man! Of course we do. It's where it gets back to the absolute fundamental root of what we do, where it's not so much game prep and scoreboard. It's teaching at a fundamental level, at a mechanical level.
Yeah.
And watching kids grow every period of every practice of every day.
What do you like most about Kevin Steele?
Good stuff.
What do you like most about him as a defensive coordinator?
Probably two things. Probably one, the way that he connects to his players and gets them to buy into what he's doing from week to week. And two, he'll have very specific game plans to scheme up offensive specific ideologies and tendencies. And, it's just, hey, this is what we're doing. We feel good about it, and we're going to live or die with it, And if you look at what everybody's about to transition to, that odd stack dime look that they ran against LSU last year is about to become a huge fad.
Really?
Across the nation at the collegiate and the high school level.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, obviously that was a very unusual defense to throw at LSU. I thought it worked really well in general. I mean, Auburn could have won that game.
Should have won that game.
LSU beat the hell out of most people they played last year, but Auburn was not one of those teams.
Yeah.
That 3-3 stack did a lot of things that pissed off Joe Burrow. What are the strengths and weaknesses of that stack?
Well, if you take D linemen, especially when you got good D linemen, you go with the double four eyes and the nose, and then you've got your stack linebacker, and Auburn's got a good one in KJ Britt, and he's a guard read guy right there. He essentially has no pass responsibilities. He's reading the offside guard, away from whichever direction the nose tackle goes. And so you still got 4 one-gap run fitters, so you can still control the box right there. You flex out your other 2 linebackers so they can be seam drop pass guys. So they're right now in the quick game, or they can come up and be C-gap run fitters. Right now, you take your best run and tackle guy like Auburn did, who was, I think it was Sherwood that was stacked behind Britt.
Yeah.
In that thing. And he's basically a free runner, a C-ball, hit-ball guy. So you can help alleviate crossers if you get a quick pass read. He can be really effective in the screen game because it gives him a few extra yards off to get a good read on the offensive lineman that releases. And he's a perimeter run guy, an extra alley fitter in the run game. It's really good stuff, especially against teams that employ a lot of receivers like LSU did.
But they would be tough against verts, right? They would have a hard time against particularly tight ends or tight wide receivers going vertical, right?
If you went if it was true 10 personnel where it was 4 wide receivers and 1 back, and they were stretching the seams right there, yeah, you'd have to play more split field. You'd have to be man to one side and quarters to another.
Yeah.
You couldn't get away with sitting in a match variant.
Word.
Unless you substituted, unless you went with like Nichols instead of linebackers.
He wouldn't. I mean, 3-3-5 wouldn't be like a paradigm for him, though, right? I mean, you can't do that all the time.
No, but it matches up. I mean, the 3-3-5 and the 4-2-5, in terms of gap fit and coverage schematics behind it, they parallel one another.
Word.
All you're doing is exchanging one body type in terms of personnel in there somewhere.
Well, you can
the logistics match up the same.
You've got to have a lot of trust in your 3-down linemen in that situation, and when you've got Derek Brown and Marlon
you really
out there,
do.
Derek Brown and Marlon, you can trust those guys. I don't know if Tyrone Truesdell and Big Cat are 2 guys you can trust as much.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You got to believe in the progress that Garner makes for those guys, and then you just got to hope that a guy like guys like Newkirk can stay healthy and step up.
Yeah, word. What else has been going on, man?
And hey, man, just trying to become, exist in this new world of being a virtual coach, and enjoying a whole lot of time with the family, and developing a weird, effeminate affinity for White Claws.
No, tell me that's not true.
Hey, man, I don't want to own up to it, but I have to.
Oh, Are you doing this to placate your wife?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm man enough to say that at this point in my life.
Yeah, you have a lovely wife. She's awesome.
She's a trooper, man. Legit coach's wife.
No, absolutely. You got to have one. I mean, you all do. Anything else you want to talk about with football?
Nah, man. I just want to give props to the bunker. Tell everybody to get back outside, get some sun, get some vitamin D, build some immunity, and do what we do.
And keep kicking ass, right?
Keep kicking ass, baby.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. You're the best, man.
Hey, man, anytime. Good to hear from you, brother.
See you, bro. That's Hunter. Hunter 48 from the bunker. Coach Hunter. He is a defensive coordinator at a high school in the central Alabama area. And not coincidentally, when he took over, I think he just finished his, I think, third year as defensive coordinator at the school where he is. And they have gotten better and better and better. And this past year, they were pretty damn good. He has a kid going D1 from his school, which is not a big school, so it's a big deal for them. And they've had some games where they just don't let up any points. They have shutouts. He's at a school where that's just not. Years ago they were really good, but here in the last 10 years they've been just kind of mediocre. And I think Hunter and the new coach they have there are the new head coach they have there are just bringing them up. Hunter's a guy that I go to for advice and guidance on a lot of the questions I have about strategy and whatnot. I mean, I ask Kevin stuff, but I kind of have to be careful with Kevin because he's got a full-time job doing Auburn stuff. So I try to only go to him when I have specialized questions, and then Hunter can help me a lot. Excuse me, when it's kind of more, Jay's a dipshit. I need to know what this is, this basic concept or whatever, and he's very patient with me. So anyway, Hunter 48, when you see him talking on the board, you need to pay attention probably. A lot of people do that already. Doc Dumpster, I know, is a big fan already. So, yeah, Hunter's the man. Let's see. Corny says Hunter is married to Amanda. Could be true. I don't know. Corny Mofo says, I don't know what he's talking about, but I love it. Ed Darby says 3-3-5 is best for third down. So much you can do. We were talking about that stack look. Auburn, I was not expecting that, but Kevin Steele unveiled that look against LSU in the LSU game. So they had 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and then the middle linebacker, the stack linebacker, was lined up directly behind the nose. And then your tackles were in a 4-eye alignment. And it was an unusual way to defend LSU. They had never seen that. I mean, it's not a new concept, but it's a concept you don't see. It's kind of outdated. People don't run it anymore. But it was very useful there. LSU started changing up some of the things they were doing in the second half, and it made the 3-3 look a little bit less reliable, and Kevin got out of it. But Auburn played LSU as well as anybody. And Auburn probably should have won that game, honestly. Biggest hit in that game was DJ Williams going out of bounds at the 2, and not even really fighting to stay in bounds at the 2. He willingly went out of bounds, and that was a major mistake. He's a true freshman. You don't get on him too much, but you say, DJ, don't you ever go out of bounds in a situation like that without fighting for every inch. Just can't do that, man. Ruxpin's in the house. He announces his entrance with a sup. My man, understated to the end. Corny says Rux is the best, and he survived that rando. Ed D says Kevin Steele is the man, willing to adjust. Malzahn, not so much. Yeah, Malzahn's adjustments haven't been quite as good as Kevin. I mean, if there's a minus to Kevin, sometimes I feel like he puts his defensive backs in one-on-one situations due to blitzes. Like, he likes to play around with the blitz a little bit, which is cool, man. You know, he's an aggressive person, and his defense matches his aggressive personality, so no criticism there. But some of the blitzes that he likes to run require cornerbacks being on an island. Now, if Iggy's on an island, okay, and he gets beat, shit happens. Because Iggy doesn't get beat that much. And if he gets one up here and there, well, you're just going to have to live with that. But sometimes he'll run exotic blitzes and put guys like McCreary 2 years ago against Tennessee on an island, or he'll put Javaris Davis in a compromised situation. I happen to like Javaris Davis, but he's not the best lockdown cover guy. So I think sometimes he takes too many risks and leaves his cornerbacks or nickelback exposed in one-on-one coverages that were avoidable, and then they get beat. And look, man, if you're going to be aggressive, you're going to lose some, you know? I mean, it's like blackjack, you know? You're trying to win 55% of the time here. I mean, maybe he's shooting for a higher number on defense. I don't know. But so I'm not criticizing the overall concept. I'm just saying his tendency is to leave his cornerbacks on an island. And when you have Carlton Davis or Jamel or Iggy out there, well, that's not a bad gamble. But when you've got somebody else who's not quite as good, I think you need to adjust. You need to be less aggressive, and he doesn't believe in being less aggressive. That's all I'm saying about that. Raven says Gus won't even adjust his bubble gum. Oh, Gus. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to my podcast with Gus. He was kind enough to spend some time talking with me on Zoom. I think that was Thursday morning. And I turned that into a podcast, which you can find on the front of auburnsports.com, or it's on iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff. It is not on Spotify, I don't think, but we're working on it. The problem with Spotify was we were using copyrighted music on the bumpers, but we're not now. We haven't for like 2 or 3 months now, so I'm hoping we get to a point where Spotify will take us. That's how I listen to a lot of my podcasts now, so I definitely want to get on there. Ed Darby says, I'm scared to ask about the offensive line. Well, I understand that, brother. Yeah, I just don't know who to trust out there. I mean, Brodarius Ham, to me, is the most trustworthy player, and he hasn't even really played that much yet. I think that Nick's going to be fine at center. You know, and then some of these young guys are going to have to step up. To me, Brandon Council's probably going to be a backup. Killian Zaire, if he gets back, he's a pretty good player. But is he going to be back from the ACL surgery by the time they get to practice? I mean, the good news is that obviously giving that thing a chance to heal is great, but has he been able to rehab the way he wanted to? Is he going to be in shape? You know, there's a lot of questions. Crocodile says Brahms was decent last year. I agree. It was kind of a weird spot because they were splitting time with Caleb Kim, and I thought that Brahms deserved to play more than Caleb Kim, even if he wasn't playing at quite as high a level, because I felt like at least he was being more physical than Caleb was. But Nick's going to have the job all the way this year. Austin Troxell was a terrific prospect at one time. He's had 3 ACL surgeries. I just don't know what we can expect from Trox at this point. I mean, as tough as he is and as big as he is, and he was at least a tremendous athlete, at some point these ACL injuries, they have a cumulative effect on your explosiveness and your lateral agility and all that stuff. So does he still have what it takes? I don't know. He sure looks the part, though. He's a big old dude now. Tayshawn Manning also looks the part, but I just don't know if he's physical enough. So a lot of questions. A lot of questions out there on the offensive line, and it seems like we have the same story every year, A lot of questions. Hell, last year, with Prince Tag, I had questions about him. I didn't have as many questions about Jack, but, to me, Jack was just like super technically sound player. He just wasn't a particularly good finisher, or he wasn't particularly physical. But the NFL, he was drafted in like the 4th or 5th round, 6th round. I don't remember which one, but he was drafted, which surprised me. Somebody out there said, I like that technical side of it. I don't need a Braden Smith to just ground people into the ground and crush them like a mortar and pestle, just getting Braden he's a cyborg, man. It's tough to appreciate how good an interior lineman is like Braden, but he is so filthy. The times I've been able to watch the tape where you can actually see them from the back, from the end zone, and see what he's doing to people, the things that he did to people at Auburn, he's just mean. He just blocks people. knocks them off their feet, drives them backwards, lays them down, and then drives his helmet into their throat. I mean, he's just mean. And then he puts a hand down, picks them up, smacks them on the ass, and gets back on the line. Like, he's a cool dude. He's just, when he's playing, man, he's just an absolute assassin. Derek Brown's like that too. Braden is, I think he's the best lineman we've ever covered at Auburn, that I've seen at Auburn. I mean, I didn't cover Willie Anderson. He obviously was a tremendous player. Marcus McNeil I did cover, and he ended up having a great NFL career, but to me, Braden was even better than him, in my opinion. Tyrone Green played a while in the NFL. I mean, he's better than him. The kid from Elmore County was a fullback. Ben Grubbs, he played in the league for a long, long time. Now, Ben did have some of that, man. Ben could finish a block now. That's why he made a lot of money in the NFL. I'm just out here babbling. Ed D says, do we have the line to run Malzahn offense, or does Malzahn need to adjust to the line? I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, Bicknell, he's got his work cut out for him. I mean, he's got a lot of bodies, but I don't know if he's got a lot of prime-time players, so to speak. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's the position that I got real questions on both lines. Probably more offense than defense, because I know Ty Truesdell's a pretty good player. I just don't know if he's a Montravius Adams player, you know. It's always been Rodney's contention that the kid has it in him. It's just a matter of maturing and getting to the point where he can pull the trigger all the time. Montravius, it took him a year or two, but then he was able to do it, and that's why he's making money in the NFL. Ty Truesdell came from a different situation than Montravius Adams did. I think Ty had more to overcome, in my opinion. It's taken him some time at Auburn to kind of get his head straight and learn how to, I don't like to use this phrase, but how to be a professional football player, you know, I mean, how to practice, how to eat, how to stay in shape, how to stay on top of your books, et cetera, et cetera. But I think he's there now. He played pretty well last year. I'm just babbling. Canoe Man says running a Chad O next season, correct? I believe so, yes. I understand if you guys are reticent to believe that, but I'm not. I think it's going to happen. Anyway, hope you guys had a chance to listen to the podcast I had Thursday. It was actually a video Zoom call I had with Gus, but I turned it into a podcast. Not really big on video so much with that, but asked him some stuff about getting prepared, and sound like he was thinking July 15th is, in his mind, unofficially, where he thinks he'll be able to get kids on campus and start, you know, really preparing to get going. He sounded like somebody who believes it's going to take him a little bit longer. You know, that because the kids are basically exercising on their own. And some of them, you know, somebody like Kenny Britt is out there killing himself all the time to stay in top shape. Not worried about him. But there's 70 other kids. Some of them probably aren't working as hard as they should. There's this belief, and I've got it too, that, you know, anybody playing college football at the SEC level and the Auburn level, you know, the upper division level, is out there busting their ass every single day, but that's not how it is. Some kids do and some kids don't. Some kids are just born to just work hard, and some, you know, they've got other hurdles to overcome. The most obvious, of course, was Byron Coward, but Corny Mofo says, Jay drinking the Gus Kool-Aid. No, I'm drinking the Chad Kool-Aid is what I'm drinking. I believe in Chad Morris, and I think that Gus is wise enough to stay out of his way. That's what I believe. I do like Gus, though. I do. I think on the bunker, most people are like, that guy's an idiot. And I understand why you think that, because he does idiotic things sometimes. But I don't know. I like him. One thing I really like about Gus is I never have to worry about him lying to me. If I ask him a question, he does, and he's in a situation where he doesn't want to answer it, he just doesn't answer it. Instead of giving me a lie, he just doesn't answer it. I never catch him in a lie. And I appreciate that about him. For coaches, that doesn't happen. I don't run across a lot of coaches. You know, actually, BP does. I don't catch BP in lies either. But I caught Tuberville in a lie every day. Most of them were just silly lies. It don't matter. But he'd say anything. Ed D said, did he say we were a run play action team? Well, that's how Chad feels about it, too. He didn't do as much running maybe at Arkansas as he would have wanted, but he just wasn't staffed for it yet. Corny says, I love Gus, but I don't think he's going to give up control. I mean, giving up control is a relative term, right? It depends on what you mean, but I think he's going to stay out of Chad's way for the most part. Do want to give a shout-out to Ben B., who is one of our superstar all-time super chatters, who jumps in with a super chat and just says, plainly, COVID sucks. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one, brother, and it does suck. I hope you're staying healthy and happy, you and your folks, Ben B. So thank you very much for that super chat and supporting what we do here on the Brain Drain. Hey, now. Oh, yes. Raven says Kool-Aid, is it purple or red? Corny Mofo jumps in and says, Raven, purple drank is the way to go. Ruxpin says, I don't hate Gus. He's just frustrating. Understood. Understood. He has some weird tendencies. It's like he goes into these games, right, with this preconceived notion. Look, coaches script plays. I mean, Belichick on down do that. But he kind of comes with these ideas about how this game's going to go, and by God, that's what he's going to do. And even if the game ends up unfolding in different ways, and they're doing different things, he keeps just trying to cram his preconceived notion of how it's going to go. And tries to keep trying to crush it, crush it into reality. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Let's see, Canoe Man says, Gus's personality has utterly charmed the Commodore. And you love Tubbs. I mean, I like Gus. Again, he doesn't lie to me. And, yeah, he's all right, man. I like Gus. I know the bunker tends to like to hate him. Although I think a lot of the bunker has gotten to a point where they're more like Ruxpin, where it's like, I don't hate him, but he's just frustrating. He's serially frustrating. He is. From an Auburn perspective, he's frustrating. Seems like it's the same problems that keep coming up. But I think with Chad, he's the one guy that I think that Gus would actually get the hell out of the way and let him do something. I mean, Chad took Gus's ideas to start with, sprinkled some different stuff into it, didn't have the same problems with the tendencies that Gus did, and kicked all kinds of ass at Clemson, and kicked some ass at SMU, and then he failed pretty miserably at Arkansas. But that was a very thorny and complicated situation there that Burt left for him. Burt was obviously going in an unusual direction for the SEC, trying to just ground people into the ground, running the ball with huge linemen that were not fast but who were strong, and all of a sudden everybody else is running tempo and accentuating speed, and Arkansas was the slowest team on the earth. It was going to take a while. Pocket Watch, you're killing me with this one. Says, did Jay Jacobs ever lie to you? No, JG, I would never lie to you, JG. Yes, he did, Pocket Watch, and thank you for asking. We got a big super chat coming through from Stephen P. Says, Wardam from Denver, JG. Thank you for the Saturday infotainment. Man, one of my big homies lives out there, man, in Littleton. My man Will H., last name redacted. So I love Denver. I've been talking to Will about going out there to Denver and hanging out for a little bit. It just seems like it's a long way away. I don't really want to be on a plane right now, but anyway, love Denver. Wish I could go. Ready to go back. So appreciate you tuning in, Steven, and for that super chat. Yo. Malzahn, Ed Darby says Malzahn doesn't play the matchups. Seth Williams against a 5'8" corner doesn't take advantage. Yeah. I think it goes back to what I was saying kind of, though, really, right? You're like, well, he ignores the fact that Williams he's matched up on a 5'8" corner. Why don't they accentuate that? Because he didn't think about it going in. He's like, we're going to run this particular run paradigm, or we're going to aim at this particular player or whatever, and it's just keep doing it, man. It'll work. Canoe Man says Jay Jacobs and Bill Clinton sound identical. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm not exactly a professional impersonator, but that's just what Jay Jacobs sounds like to me. JG, I understand you're Catholic. Yeah. So is it true that you guys pray to Mary? No, that's not true. Well, that's what I was told. Yeah, well, I'm not the spokesperson for Catholicism, but no, we don't pray to Mary. I do pray at her feet for her intercession from time to time because I think Mary's pretty awesome, and I would love for her to intercede on my behalf. However, I do not pray to her. I ask her to pray with me. We pray together, although I don't hear her. We are together. That's my answer to that. I don't mean to wax religious on this one, but he told some really tall tales in that softball investigation. And looking back on it, he had to have known that we were going to catch him. I don't like how that whole thing went down. It just really skied me out. Ruxpin sends in a super chat, says, take a shot, JG. Hell yeah. Coming to you right now, Rux. Thank you very much for your super chat and for your support of everything we do here, bro. You're great on the bunker. You're great on the calls. Great super chatter. Just an all-around pimp. This one's for you, buddy. Yeah. Considering I was just still raw in my throat from that larceny last week, I probably should have picked something a little softer than that, but I mean, it's only 100. Pocket Watch says religion and politics are okay so long as Jay Jacobs is being mocked. Yeah, you'll see a lot of people in the media. I mean, I guess specifically P. Marsh. And you guys know I love P. Marsh, okay? Love the guy. I mean, love him. He's like the uncle. He's like the uncle I didn't have. All right, I'm not ragging on him. But you'll see P. Marsh and others. They'll be like, Jay Jacobs, spotless reputation, tremendous human being. And my experience with Jay Jacobs has not been that. If somebody is super, super, super walking the line religiously, and Jay loved talking that game, right? We're going to do everything according to the Bible, stuff like that, which is, in my opinion, a wonderful way to try to live your life. I do it myself. But then if you're going to say that and you're going to live that, then you need to live that instead of going around lying about stuff. That's bullshit. So I just got this feeling in my head that he was doing it all as an act, and I will never be dissuaded from thinking that. I think it was a huge act for him, and I think he's still living that life. He thinks that he's still talking that game, but to me, why would you lie indiscriminately like that? I really try not to do that in my own personal life, and I mean, I feel like I'm not trying to wax religious here, but I feel like we can all be in agreement that lying is a bad idea. So, and I also got pissed off when he was making fun of Catholicism, but because he's not a Catholic. I'm not sure what he is. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He could be a Methodist or a Baptist or whatever, but I could tell he was kind of like, Catholics suck because they pray to Mary, and I'm like, dude, we don't. That's just not true. Hey, caller, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, JG?
Hey, have you been drinking long enough, Rux?
I don't know. You want me to call back here in a little bit? Probably not.
I thought you said you were lubing up a little bit, getting some of that throat lube going, bro. Oiling it up.
I'm trying to, man, but it's going to be a long fight, so I don't know if you'll still be on. The administrative assistant might kick you off again.
Yeah, she might give me the wrap it up signal. How you been, Rux?
I've been good, man. How about yourself?
Well, I mean, just hanging out, drinking, and laying pipe, just doing whatever. How did you do last night, man? Did y'all have fun?
I was about to say, speaking of laying pipe, so I gotta give the deets to my man Doc Dumpster, Croc, Bull, all of them, TJ 3131. But so it wasn't last night, but it was this morning. I picked up one of those apps and kind of went after it like Davy Pooh would. And I got this girl to get me to we got a booty call going this morning. So I drove my ass up to Alpharetta today, early in the morning. We did our thing. It was fun. It was a slump buster. Thanks for D-Lucky for the advice on that. But it was fun, man. I'm feeling good after that. It was my first first time during quarantine.
Dang. Did you distance socially?
What? I don't know if that's possible with
No, it's probably not.
You know what I'm saying?
It's probably not unless you're sitting in the chair.
But yeah, man, it was good. She was obviously she wasn't the classiest lady, letting me do that right away. But it was fun. She was squealing a little bit, squirting a little bit, so it was all good in the hood.
Corny asked me to ask you if your taint is wet. I don't know what that means. Is that a drink?
What is wet?
Your taint.
Taint? Isn't that the thing in the back?
I don't know. These things are just over my head. Was the girl pretty hot, or?
I'm gonna skip that question.
How hot was that girl?
So I'd say she was like a 6. She was a Hispanic lady. Well, at least Latina descent. I don't know. Last name was something Guerrero or something. I don't know. But it was good, man. It definitely got me in a good mood. I feel like I've driven around the whole freaking Metro Atlanta today. It's been nuts. It's been a nutty day. That's why I'm not too lubed up.
I understand. We're going to try to go to 1 o'clock, so maybe we'll pick you up on the backside if you're ripped up. Are you going to do anything tonight? Are you going to close tonight or anything?
So it's weird. It's one of those rain when it pours situations. So my ex-girlfriend hit me up earlier. Maybe not tonight. It might be a Mother's Day night special.
Oh, damn.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I heard you talking about tight ends earlier.
Yeah.
Were you all talking about tight ends?
Oh, absolutely.
So if Brandon Frazier gets 25 catches this year, man, that would be amazing. Like, when's the last time an Auburn tight end had 25 catches in their career?
See what I mean? It'd be Lutz, rather. And Ed D was like, man, only 25? And I was like, that'd be a huge number.
What did that kid, Jalen, I forgot his last name, but he was our tight end, Jalen Harris. I think he had like 3 and 4 years or something.
Yeah.
And transferred.
Yeah, went to Colorado. Yeah.
But how do you think how do you think we're going to balance the run pass this year? Like, how many pass attempts do you think Bo will get? I know it's a hard number to reach for.
I don't know, 25, something like that. But they're going to do a lot with tight ends.
How many pass attempts do you think Bo will have on the season? That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think we'll throw it more?
Maybe a little bit more, yeah, because he's going to sell it as throwing to the tight end on a 3-yard out is more of a run than it is a pass. That's how Chad will kind of explain it to Gus. And Gus will go, okay, that's basically a run, and then they'll be fine. But
that's pretty good.
I think that the tight end thing's going to work, though. I really do. I think it would have worked all this time. It's just Gus didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been like a frustrating thing, but I kind of gave up on it after the last few years. But yeah, man, I'll let you get back to the thing. Maybe I'll call in later if y'all keep going. If I'm really drunk, I don't know if you'll take the call. But
you're always welcome, Rux. You're always welcome.
JG, you the man. You know I love you. Love Jay Lee. Love B Matt. Nate King doing his thing. And I'll call in later if y'all still on.
All right, Rux. You be good. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Oh, he gone. I hope he heard me. I came up in your face. Oops, pal. Surprise. Oh. You know what I'm talking about. He also threw a D. Lucky reference in there, talking about the Slump Buster. During the call, we got a super chat from Crocosile. Says, love the show, JGT. If you need a basketball strategist for insight, I recommend Ghost of Tallahassee Tiger. He's pretty good at drawing fouls. He is indeed. He's very good at setting people up. He sets people up to kind of attack him, and then he goes, hey, everybody's attacking me. And I'm like, dude, you're trying to get people to attack you. Stump does some of that, but it's not as obvious as Ghost of Tallahassee Tiger. But, I mean, it takes all kinds. Love the Cats also with a super chat. Says 1 a.m. beaches. Typical, that's a Hornacious refrain. See if we can make it to 1 o'clock. I suspect that we won't, but I would love to hang in there long enough to get Ruxpin back. And it sounds like Ruxpin had himself a good Friday night. I mean, there's room in this world for sixes. I mean, no trouble with that. See, Ravin says, how far will Bo have to throw is the question. Yeah, that's right. Canoe Man says, please call back and talk statistics, Rux. No, man, we saved that for David the Wizard, man. He's the analytics guy. And I'm hoping David is out there doing his thing, man. I know he was very excited about this young lady that he's hanging out with tonight. Thinks she's a really wholesome, high-quality individual and a very inspiring young lady. And, it really means a lot, of course, when you meet a woman like that just kind of makes you want to be a better person and just lifts you up. So I know he's really fired up about that. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Ed D asks, I think I need to take another shot. It says, hey, JG, do you have a hair appointment with the hot hairdressers? Yeah, here's the thing, man. So I think they're getting fired up on Tuesday here in the state of Alabama. I think it's all systems go on Tuesday, barring no bars and no movie theaters, I think. And I don't think I'm going to be going to the gym. I need to go to the gym, but I'm not going to be going. I don't feel comfortable in there. So I'm going to be able to go to the soccer fields, though, thank goodness, because all the facilities at the YMCA are going to be open. So that's going to be a big plus. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm not going to actually go to the gym. Anyway, my hairdresser, Emily, was talking about how she's going to kind of basically start her book back up starting Tuesday, and she's going to go in the same order that everybody was lined up before the COVID hit. So I would imagine that I'll be late on her list. So I probably won't even have a chance to go in there for a couple weeks. But as I was going to say, man, I think I'm just going to let it go for a little while. Because it's way longer than I ever thought it would be right now, and I'm just kind of rolling with it. And I think I'm just going to ride this thing out and see how long it gets. I mean, I'm not going to try to be like Ben Wolk or anything with the man bun, but, I don't know. Just going to let it roll. Just going to let it go. I don't really care. Canoe Man says, yeah, Wiz has the analytics, and I figure Rux could be our stats expert. Yeah, Wiz. Man, remember when Wiz was just like, going off on that tangent like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Like, come on, bro. Ed Darby says in the passing game, the T and H back were used to block. Bo only had 2 options on every pass play. You never see teams bust coverage because there are only 3 wide receivers getting out. Yeah, I think that's a Gus problem. We've talked about it on the show before. I feel like Gus, like you go into the Oregon game and, Bo's a true freshman, and you want to be careful with him. But you get to game 6 or 7, I feel like Bo had shown himself to be a competent decision maker, a competent quarterback. He tended to run out of the pocket a little bit more than he should have, or earlier than he should have. But he was getting better, and I thought by the end of the season it wasn't a problem anymore. At some point, you've got to start adding some complexity for him, And I agree, the pass concepts were pretty straightforward. I think they could have made it more complex, and I think Bo would have been able to catch up. My guess is that for this season, Chad will have a better understanding. Bo's had a full year. Chad's had a chance to work with him and talk to him a lot about. I think he'll have a better understanding of what Bo can do, and Bo can do a lot more now. So I think it'll be more complicated this year, and I think it's going to be good for the offense. Stu Pup says, pro tip, never mess around with your hairdresser. Sounds like you know that from experience, bro. I would definitely not mess around with my hairdresser, although she's great. She's like half my age. I think Emily's like 22 or 23, and I'm about to turn 48. So, and you guys know, it's not a joke. If I'm looking at women and stuff, they're older. 20-year-old girls are. That's for Jay, like 25 years ago. This is for you, Ravin, and others. Thank you to Ben B, Steven, Ruxy Poo, Crocodile. Appreciate you guys. Oh, yeah. Damn. Crocodile says, I'm getting a haircut Tuesday. That's going to be huge. Oh, War Eagle 008, 0008 says AU versus Memphis in Atlanta this December. Big time. Great, man. I'm glad you brought that up. So Auburn announced that. They have come down to a full agreement with Memphis to be part of that classic. That's going to be in Atlanta, so they're going to play Memphis as part of a classic in December of Yeah, later this year, if everything goes to plan. That's a deal. We were actually, me and Nate King were working on that story probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had gotten word about it, and we were trying to confirm it. And the information we kept getting from Auburn was, yeah, there's definitely something to that, but talks about us and Memphis had kind of broken down, and we're open to doing it, but at this point, I see it as a 50-50 thing. Is kind of the way I saw it. But whatever. John Rothstein, who's a national analyst, he has something to do with that particular classic or whatever. I don't know if it's like his or if he's just working with those folks or whatever, but I feel like he got involved with BP and Penny Hardaway and just kind of got those two guys together to sign it and get on with it. So it's weird how things like that kind of work out, but I think that'll be exciting. I mean, those are two teams, Auburn and Memphis, that have been going head-to-head in recruiting these last couple years, and it'll be kind of cool to see them going head-to-head on the court. I mean, Memphis is going to be kind of younger, and then Auburn's going to be real young, so I don't know how good the game's going to be. I mean, like, as far as those are two teams that are building their way toward being better in March than they are at that point in the season. I know everybody's doing that, but they'll be further behind than a lot of other teams. But yeah, it's good to see them playing. BP's not scared to play some folks. It's weird for me, though. I mean, I grew up loving Penny Hardaway. I mean, I loved the Magic when it was him and Shaq and Nick Anderson. And to see, I kind of see him as the villain now, right? Like, he's the guy that's like out there playing James Wiseman when he shouldn't. He's the guy out there getting a bunch of recruits when you're like, why the hell would they go to Memphis? And he was an AAU guy before he was a college coach, and it just kind of makes me wonder, like, what, I don't know. I kind of see Penny as the bad guy now. And I spent a lot of my life seeing Penny as the good guy. When they were showing that Jordan documentary the other night in the '98 All-Star game, I saw Penny in the locker room there. I was like, that's my guy right there. I remember when I used to like him. Anyway. I know I missed some stuff here. Stoop Up says, had a hot Asian hairdresser. Went out a few times, and it foundered. Bad thing is she was really good at cutting my hair. Should have just flirted. Took me forever to find a new one. Yeah, you're bummed out because you couldn't find somebody to cut your hair just as well. I like that. It's fine. Corny says, I lived with my hairdresser for 3 years, and she was half my age. Free haircuts on my front porch. All right, man. You're living the life, bro. Mm-hmm. Crocodile says, yo, I actually had a source on that matchup and posted it on the bunker thread for the brain drain. I did not know that, Crocodile. You're a badass, dude. Thank you for passing that along. I'm sure folks saw that. Crocodile says the AAU coach that set up the Hoopsgiving is Jalen's dad. While that may be true, I don't know if that is or not. Probably is if you're saying so. I just know that John Rothstein was pushing that thing around. Raven says, wasn't Horace Grant on that Magic team? I think he was. I don't remember for sure. I know Ho Grant was on the Magic, though. I mean, I just don't know when. I used to love the Magic, man. I was so fired up about them. Maybe I'll start caring about them again. I just need I need an NBA team. And the fact that Chuma's there, I don't know. I really like Chuma, so that'd be a good start. And Vucevic, he's a good player. And they traded away Oladipo. I don't know, it seemed like the Magic were like solid, right? They're like middle of the road. They're like fighting for the 8th seed maybe in the East. I don't know. I just always liked the Magic. Wish they were better. What else we got? Probably need to give the horn to B-Matt, don't I? Sorry, I mean, Hunter had texted me before, and I was like babbling, as I do. Make sure B-Matt is let's make sure he's awake and he's respirating. He'll be like, hey guys. AU Taxman reminds us all that Scotty Skiles had 30 assists in a game. Scotty Skiles is one of the Magic's very first stars. Scotty Skiles, formerly of Michigan State University, and also a guy who had some trouble in the off the court, but it happens. I think BMAT actually managed to turn a CPAP machine into a ventilator. I'm just kidding. He didn't really. Yeah, we definitely have some guys we still need to get on the horn, Doc. Of course. BMAT. Wouldn't mind to talk to Jay Lee, although, as you guys know, he goes to bed early. I got a weird text from him this morning, though. He had some ideas about maybe being a co-host on the show tonight, and I was like, I don't know if we can do a co-host because we need to be in the same room to do that. And he was like, yeah, you're right, my bad. I'm good with the suggestions, though, Jay Lee. You know that. And then I also got a text from Doc about Hunter, yeah. He was really big on trying to get Hunter on the show tonight, and Hunter was great, obviously. I knew he'd be great. He's good at this stuff. Canoe Man says, let B-Mac get off the Stairmaster first. War Eagle says, how about the length on this Auburn basketball team? Stretch, who's like 6'10"-ish. Thor, 6'10"-ish, 6'9", 6'10". And Cardwell at 6'11". Lots of length. That's what he likes, man. That's what BP likes. He likes his long, quick runners playing center. Just like Wayne Chisholm back in the day. AU Taxman is quick to remind us all that Shaq was not in the original NBA Jam. It was Nick Anderson. That's correct. Nick Anderson, formerly of University of Illinois. Ruxpin says, is a taint a butthole? That's a tricky question. And it's going to be a tricky answer. He's asking Corny about that. In my opinion, the answer would be no. But you could also argue yes. You could say that it's a suburb. We're going to call BMAT. Let me guess. Y'all want to take any action on if he's laying down in the bed? He probably is, right? Yeah, he probably is. Corny, man. What? Corny, you're killing me, bro.
What's up?
Who I got here on the horn right now?
This is B Matt. How you doing, brother?
What up, B Matt? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Just hanging out at the house. Just had dinner and some cake and ice cream. So, it's a good night.
What are you celebrating Cassie's birthday still?
Yeah, well, that was yesterday, but there was still some cake and ice cream left over. So, yes, I guess that means we're still celebrating, of course.
And she turned 16, is that right?
Sweet 16, yep, my youngest. Yep.
Is she driving? Is she driving now?
She is driving, but I still think she's got to get a little bit better for it. At least you're on the wide world of roads and highways.
Oh, okay. We've been having a very interesting chat on the show here about what a taint is. I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
Probably something you accidentally do in your pants would be my guess.
That's what you think a taint is?
Yeah, that's probably what I go with. Yeah.
No, a taint is a place. It's a noun. It's a destination. It's not somewhere you'd want to go, but it's a destination.
Oh, well, I've never heard. That wouldn't. I don't know what that would be.
Well, it's an area between your balls and your butthole. You call it taint. It taint your balls and it taint your butthole. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
So just keep that in mind for the next time, okay?
That's an area I usually steer clear of. So.
Well, sure, I understand.
I know you and Jeffrey like to explore different areas, but I'm pretty.
Hey, you are a baseball enthusiast. You're a eagle-eyed watcher of the Auburn baseball program. What do you think of this deal where the draft is only going to be 5 rounds? How does this affect these kids?
I think it screws over a lot of kids,
I think so
especially
too.
the top juniors, because if you look at their situation, a lot of them that would be high draft picks are not going to be picked now. And if they're not picked, I think they're only guaranteed about $20,000, which is nothing compared to what they would have gotten. And that puts them in a situation, then they would have to either take a little bit of money or go back for their senior year, which they weren't planning on doing, which is going to cost them more money. And they lose that leverage they would have had, with that extra year to negotiate a contract. So it's a really tough situation. But on the other hand, you're going to see a ton of talent return to college baseball next year. I would imagine at some point they're going to, allow colleges to have a bigger roster because you're going to have to, because you're going to have a lot of players coming back you weren't planning to come back. A lot of players you're going to have on scholarship that you were already counting, already giving that scholarship money to an incoming guy because, you a guy like Stephen Williams or Tanner Burns were definitely going, and now, we'll have to wait and see. So it changes a lot of things, but there's going to be one heck of a college baseball season next spring. I mean, there's going to be some loaded rosters, especially in this conference.
I mean, do you feel like Auburn is going to reclaim some of these kids that were planning to leave? Will that happen?
I think it's going to have to happen.
Wow.
And the other thing that's probably going to happen is there's going to be a lot of transfers because, if you're a hot shot, say, third baseman, and you're expected to go in the draft and you don't go and you want to come back, and they signed, LSU signed the number 2 third baseman in the country, and he's coming into play. One of those 2 guys has got to go, right?
Wow.
So I think you're going to see some real high-profile transfers. I think we saw one in softball with that Ole Miss girl coming to Auburn.
Yeah.
I guess Ole Miss didn't have the money for it, so she made a intra-division transfer, which is pretty unusual in my mind.
Right. That's a girl who was a walk-on at Ole Miss. She claims they promised her to give her a scholarship. They didn't do it, and Auburn said, "Yo, we'll give you a scholarship. Come on over," and that's what went down there.
Yeah, she's a pretty good player. So
Absolutely.
That's a good pickup.
Do you know off your top of your head any Auburn kids that are going to kind of be in that spot? They're going to be on the spot now that to me, Tanner Burns is probably high enough to be in that top 5 rounds, but are there kids that maybe were planning to leave that would be in like the 5 to 15 range that now have to kind of rethink it?
Yeah, I think Tanner's probably in the top 5. I think Stephen Williams is, but I don't know that for sure. It's hard to stack up where they're going to fall, Stephen Williams is now an outfielder. He's not a catcher. That puts him in a much larger group of, guys who are going to be drafted. So is he still a 5th-round talent as a right fielder? Maybe. Wouldn't surprise me. But, you look at Auburn starting, all of our starters were juniors. And, while Tanner may still be a top 5 pick, the other 2, Jack and the other kid, is not going to be, a top 5 pick, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
So you're looking at them either taking a really small amount of money or coming back. Auburn's got a bunch of other juniors. Jet Ward over there is a really good left fielder, and probably would have been drafted, somewhere in a decent round, but I wouldn't think top 5.
Right.
And so he'll probably be back. I mean, he's one of the best defensive outfielders in the SEC. So yeah, you're going to have a really crowded Auburn baseball team, and it's good and bad there. It's going to slow down the development of some guys. You're going to lose some young guys that aren't going to want to come in. If you got a veteran coming back. But then again, you can have a pretty stacked roster.
Yeah, pluses and minuses. Football, anything going on over there that's piqued your interest in the last week or so?
Well, doing the depth chart, I was really surprised when I really put down a paper about how much depth Auburn has at the defensive line. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because Rodney Garner does a great job of knowing what he needs and going out there and getting it. I mean, I can't point to one guy and say for certain this guy's going to be an all-conference player, but you got 7 or 8 guys that, or maybe more, that could potentially develop into that, if they take that next step or next couple of steps forward. So that's one area I feel pretty good about for Auburn, but I'm really concerned about the secondary. Even the offensive line, I think there's 16 or 17 guys.
Yeah.
So at least you've got a guy with NFL coaching experience with a bunch of dudes to work with. So you figure he's going to find at least 5 decent players out of that and get him going there, at least by mid-season. But then you look at the secondary and you just wonder how many guys you have you can line up and just cover guys man on man if you have to cover 3 or 4 really talented receivers like you will against an LSU or an Alabama or Georgia.
You asked me I was going to be talking to Gus on Thursday, so I asked,
Right.
I was like, hey, you got anything you want me to ask you? And ask him, and I did. I asked him about, is there a grad transfer you might still add? And he was kind of like, well, we'll just have to see, maybe.
Yeah.
And I asked specifically about cornerback because that's where you think they really could use somebody right now.
Yeah, I really do. I really, really do. They lost one to transfer, a freshman last spring, I guess it was. And trying to think, I think they came up short on one, didn't they? They recruited another JUCO kid or another. I can't remember recruiting wise. Jeffrey close to that, but it seems like they're short at least one corner to me. And you've got a few guys there like a Devin Barrett or a Tanner Burns, or a Steele, or a Gus Malzahn, 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 or a Gus Trayvon Leonard. You just don't know. Are they just going to be program guys, or they could actually be able to step up and play and be good players for Auburn? And if not, you're really short on numbers. So they could really use one guy that can come in and be a starter opposite of Roger, or maybe just starting nickel, or maybe a guy you can just depend on as a backup, and a guy who can come in down situations, because you're going to be a nickel 80+% of the time, and you're going to need a fourth guy out there a lot of the times too.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's too late to be getting on a grad transfer, or can they still find somebody?
I was looking at it a little bit a couple of days ago. It still looks like there's a bunch of guys out there. I know there's two guys from Ole Miss. I don't know how good they are, but I know there's still two corners from Ole Miss, and I'm sure Crime Dog at least knows about them. He may not be interested in them, but yeah, there's still a bunch of guys out there. I think what's happened with the virus and everything has slowed down, transfers and everything a bit. So I think there's still possibilities out there. I'm still seeing guys transfer. I saw somebody transfer to another Power 5 school today. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was an offensive lineman. But, yeah, it's definitely still happening.
Yeah, they could use somebody there. Basketball-wise, B-Matt, they had Dylan Cardwell this past week. Now they've got 5 kids. Dylan's 6'11", JT Thor 6'10". Stretch is like 6'10". Seems like he's getting himself some rim runners, man.
Heck yeah, and Dylan Caldwell, man, you look at him, he's a guy I think moved up a class, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be another younger guy like JT Thor, who's got a really high upside. You watch his film, and he handles the ball pretty well for a 6'10", 6'11" dude.
Sure does.
Which you didn't see 5-10 years ago that much. And you just see a ton of potential. And me personally, I mean, it would have been exciting to see, a Greg Brown or a Jalen Green, come to Auburn and see an NBA guy, a one-year guy. But I also really enjoy, from a professional standpoint, covering guys that come here and stay for 3 or 4 years and watch how good they get from their freshman to their sophomore, especially to their junior and senior years. Because we've seen a ton of guys come to Auburn in the past and do that, because that's the only way Auburn could get good players was take a chance on the guy with potential. And, every once in a while you hit with a good player. But I see in this class, a really good mix of immediate stars and some guys are going to be good, in 2 or 3 years, maybe even at some point this year.
Yeah.
And I love what they've done at 4 and 5 too. They've got plenty to spare at the 4 and 5 now. Plenty of bodies, plenty of length and potential there. So if they could go out and get a shooter, a wing, a grad transfer who can really shoot, be dependable, play good defense, I think that would be the perfect addition to this roster.
Yeah, they need one more dude, I think. Someone they can really rely on next year,
Yep. Somebody can come in and sort of be a veteran leader, just has that mentality. So I don't know if that guy's out there or not, but if they can find that guy and he can nail threes, that would be terrific.
You've been doing The Sopranos, one show a day. How's that been working out?
Yeah, except I totally forgot about yesterday. I got so caught up in birthday stuff. But yeah, it's going great. We're into well into I guess we're season 4 now. Is that right? Yeah.
Word.
So that's going really well. So enjoying that. And let's see, I've watched a couple of other shows. I've watched The Last Kingdom. I watched all that. Season 4, I think it was.
Word.
And we finished Outsider, which is a really creepy show on HBO.
Oh yeah, I watched that live when it was going down. You didn't watch that live?
No, we didn't have it at the time. But man, there were some parts of that show that just really creeped me out. Like I was like, I can't watch another one tonight. I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, it got really weird at times.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So and it seems like it was going to be a one-off, but they sort of set it up at the end as a possibility for another one.
Well,
So
Stephen King just put out a new book, and the girl, like the Holly Givney, is a character in the new book. So I mean, she's still alive in the Stephen King universe.
Perfect. Okay, great.
About that,
great.
huh?
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Well, you got Mother's Day tomorrow. I know you're going to be fetting Yvonne a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take good care of her, of course.
Of course. I mean, you always do. That's
so
what we do.
Got a little gift and try to help her out. Maybe cook a little dinner if I don't screw it up, and we'll see how it goes.
I mean, I don't want to spoil any surprises, but when you got something special up your sleeve for dinner?
I think we're just going to do Philly cheesesteaks. Everybody really seems to like them. There's not many meals that we can fix, or that she fixes really, that everybody likes it. Like one person will not like something. But this is one that everybody likes, so we're going to have that.
Sounds like a winner, buddy.
Yeah. What about y'all? I saw you said you were going on vacation somewhere or something. I saw that on Facebook.
No.
Okay.
No, I got a vacation canceled.
I know that, but I saw you with the beer and the what was it, chips you had?
Well,
Like,
come on, man.
of
If
it?
I'm drinking a Bud Ice Tall Boy and some maple bacon chips, I'm not on vacation, dude. Come on now.
That's what I would do if I was in college and was going on a road trip. That's
No,
exactly what I would have
I went
done.
down to South Alabama to see where my friend grew up. Basically, went with him. Went on a tour of his hometown.
That's cool. We were actually nearby you. We went to Hope Hole, the animal safari down there. It was pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, man. That's like just a little bit south of Montgomery. You're right.
Yep. So
You're doing a hell of a job, B-Matt.
you too, bro.
Looking forward to seeing you again, and we can do some wings maybe pretty soon. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna probably go by this week and get some more. We got them a couple of weeks ago, but we're due for some more, I think.
Word. All right, you behave yourself, brother.
Peace out.
See you,
Everybody,
man.
be careful out there.
Be good.
All right, bye.
That's Mr. B-Matt. Hey now. Said he's been watching The Last Kingdom, Sopranos, and The Outsider, which we were watching every Sunday when it came out back in whenever the hell that was, January, February. I thought that was a good show. It had a couple episodes that were slow, but in general pretty good. And if you were liking the mood of the show, because it's kind of dark and dour, if you like the mood of the show, it never really relented. So you were probably good 1 through 10. I thought it had a really good finish. Let's ease up on the rim chat, guys. Come on now. A little too much of that. A little too much of that in the chat. We started talking about taints, and everybody's gotten a little bit overboard with that. AU Taxman interpreted what Brian was saying is that Yvonne's not a good cook. Yvonne, I know for a fact, is a good cook. I think he was just saying that he didn't want her to have to cook on Mother's Day. That's all. Yvonne is a tremendous baker. I'll tell you that. Hey, caller, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. What's happening?
Hey, D Lucky, how you doing, man?
I'm good, JG. How are you?
You got a shout out earlier, I think. Well, like a half shout out.
Dude, I saw that. I was celebrating around the house.
Hell yeah. It's a big deal, man.
When one of the boys wins, we all win.
That's what I was saying, dude. If he gets it in, we all get it in. I mean, that's
exactly.
That's how we do it.
Ruxpin's 1-for-1.
I think Ruxpin's got a chance to finish tonight too, so that could make it a weekend double. And I mean, that doesn't happen to me.
He's gonna go. Yeah, 2 for 2 for the weekend. I mean, can't do much better than that.
Now, I was concerned that I didn't think David was going to call in tonight because David's hooked up with his very important girl, and he's just kind of worked into that.
Yeah, he's preoccupied.
Sure
but that's,
is.
Ruxpin stepped in for him, pinch hit, so we're good.
I feel like
now David can.
If we took our 10 best hitters on the bunker, we would have 10 really good hitters, in my opinion.
I believe that because I think there's some who are playing and we just don't even know.
Right. They don't post and they're
just handling business.
Yeah.
Just handling business.
And we have to live. I have to live vicariously through them, though, D-Luck.
I'm right there with you, but it was just awesome. Did you hear what Ruxpin said? He said he woke up this morning and put it in his phone, and then a few hours later he was in Alpharetta and it was over with. I mean, just like that's just great. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Technology is freaking wonderful, man.
See, it would have taken me weeks to get to that point when I was a kid, and then he gets to just put an app on his phone, and he's ready to go in 2 hours.
He's good to go. I love it.
God bless that kid.
I love it.
What's piquing your interest tonight, D Lucky? What's been going on?
The basketball stuff has been good. I'm not going to doubt Bruce at all. I do believe we need one more. I don't know if Josh is it because I think we need somebody that we can count on, and that kid hasn't been healthy. Sorry to say, he's from up this way, and great kid, great family, and all of that, but he just hasn't been healthy. So I just don't know that if you're going to make him the last piece of the puzzle, that he's the right last piece. Now, I don't know what other options are available, but we need somebody that can be there consistently, night in and night out. That's really what the team's missing is somebody to be that consistent part of the team.
Yeah.
So, everybody else can settle into their roles. And if you got somebody that hadn't posted basically in 2 years. What makes you think he's going to be any different next year for him?
Yeah, and is he
Not great.
still what he was? I don't know.
Right. Great if he is, and great if he's healthy, and maybe it works out, and that's exactly it. But it's just I don't know what other options are available, but I know Bruce will look up under every rock to find it. But I'm interested to see what the overall makeup is and how he develops them. Because the way he switched styles up, he's the anti-Gus. Bruce identifies his strengths and weaknesses, and then deploys the team, to maximize those strengths.
Yeah.
And from what, like you described, I think this team is, really athletic, got a lot of length, and I think this is going to be one of those teams that is more full court pressure, defensively, strengthened, and runs a little bit more, and just needs, like I said, somebody for those nights when somebody can not get you. You can't get the tempo up against them, and you need somebody that can get you a bucket in the half court.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at Joshua Langford's numbers right now. I think he would fit, dude. Freshman year, he shot 41% from three. Sophomore year, 40%. Junior year, 40%. That dude can shoot, man.
He can do that. Like I said, it's what is it? The best ability is availability.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if he's not on the court, doesn't help you for him to be on the sideline watching.
That's right. 84% free throw shooter, but he doesn't necessarily go to the line a lot. But if you need someone to put it, if you want to put it in the hole from 3-point range, that's a guy right there.
He is that. Like I said, hopefully his foot and all that's healed, and he's good to go. I know we were in it for him the first time around, so
absolutely.
I think it'd be a good fit for what Bruce likes to do. I just don't know if he can make it through the whole season. But hey, maybe a year from now we're looking back and talking about how great it was that he came and help lead to the first championship.
Yeah, they could sure use somebody in that spot. Yeah, if it's not going to be Justin Powell, somebody's got to shoot some threes, bro. I mean, that's just going to have to happen.
Yes, so. Somebody's going to be, and Flanagan's going to be the other. Flanagan's going to be like the X factor. If he can get his shot straightened out, he's enough of a slasher, and he's perfectly sized for a role. If he can just be consistent, I mean, he can take the team from in my eyes, from a pretty good team to a great team. If you get him and whoever that last piece is.
Yeah, word. That way you got the guys that can help you right now, and you've got your potential solutions for the future. You got it all, man. That's what BP does, man.
Absolutely. No, he's great at that. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, don't doubt.
Now the other thing was, go ahead.
Don't doubt Uncle Bruce. Not that you do, but I was telling somebody earlier. Don't doubt Uncle Bruce. He'll take care of you.
No, I'm not overly concerned about it. I know. Who's that against the spread was
yeah, that's right.
He was a little less enthused about the possibilities. Like, Bruce has done nothing but show me that he's going to get the absolute most out of whatever shows up. Whoever's on the squad, he's going to get the most out of them. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see what that is.
And what else you got? I know it was something else I cut you off.
No, just the wide receivers. That was the other part of the conversation. I'm a Chad fan. Chad's been on my list of Gus hires, plenty of other times. It just seemed like a natural fit to me. So I just think all of the things that Gus has is, a weak spot in his coaching ability. Chad's like the salve for those wounds. I think he can come in and fix a lot of the things that Gus has had blind spots and just hasn't done that he could have done. We talked a little bit about the number of kids and routes and that kind of stuff. It's like Gus just doesn't scheme to create advantages for us all the time.
That's right.
Just doesn't. And once he gets something, he might exploit it once. He doesn't go back to it unless it's the stupid dive play. And it's just like, I don't get how you can have that in your repertoire of, I'm going to run this regardless, and then see something go for 30 yards and then be like, yeah, we're not going to run it again.
No, we don't need it.
We don't need that. That got us down the field too far.
I feel like Chad will get him out of that rut a little bit, but
yeah.
But you got to trust he'll do it.
Yeah. Gus just needs to just back off a little bit.
Yeah.
And let Chad do his thing.
No doubt, he's pretty good now.
Yeah, man, I'm enjoying the show. I like to be a second half caller, so I can pick up on whatever the theme is.
Yeah, you can bring in that second win, man, and just bring it home. That's right.
Yeah, we got to get an hour warning though from the administrative assistant, like just so we know. If we only got an hour left on the show, we can jump in or super chat or whatever. Pulling the plug with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
She hadn't been up here yet, so maybe I'm all right. I haven't been drinking as much as I usually do, so maybe she's gonna give me a little more leeway this time.
Just a little warning. Just something she can put on the screen or something so everybody knows. Oh, there's a countdown.
Yes, sir.
Like, here we go. Yeah.
D-Lucky, you're an absolute beast. I think this is your 4th week calling in, and we're glad to have you every single time. So appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you doing it, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. See ya.
All right.
There he is, D-Lucky, ladies and gentlemen. Picked us up. I think he's been listening to us for a good little while, but this is the 4th or 5th time he's called in, and he's been good, man. And I also had some great resets on David the Wizard last week and the week before, so crucial. I got a super chat coming through from Leif B., our man in Owensboro, Kentucky. Says, have my phone in my pocket. That's what she said. So I didn't see the chats. Jay said y'all were talking about REM. I don't think we were, but I love talking about REM. Monster and Automatic for the People are my jams. I have been listening to Monster a whole lot lately. On Spotify, they have a blue version of Monster. It's like the super duper version. They got a bunch of stuff on there. It's like 30 tracks, and some of them are like songs they were working on but they never really finished, that didn't have any lyrics. They just had done the music for them. And, man, they are really good, dude. I'm surprised I didn't pick them back up and turn them into something later on. But, I'm not a rock and roll star, so I don't know how that stuff works. I mean, I never, ever have a story where I'm like, I'm starting to write it, and then I just say, hell with it, I'm not going to write it. Like, we always finish it because you don't do that. But I guess when you're a rock and roll star, you're like, bah, bah, bah. I don't like it. We'll just throw it away and never worry about it. We'll come with something else. Well, something else will be better. I'm with you, though. Monster and Automatic for the People. Yeah, those would be my two that I would listen to the most. I mean, Green, a little bit less, maybe. Yeah. Monster, though, at the time, Leif, I wasn't as big on Monster as I am now. I like it a lot better. And then Automatic for the People's just good. So, AU Taxman says REM was my favorite band growing up. See, I don't know. I mean, I've met you, but I couldn't get a feel for how old you are, Taxman. You could be anywhere from my age to like 30. But when I was a kid, REM was tough because, my identity, I would listen to Rush and AC/DC and Bad Company and shit like that. And REM at that time, until you got to Out of Time, REM was still kind of a college band, I thought. You could make the argument that Document was probably a little bit bigger, but because it had The One I Love on it. But that was still, at that time, they were kind of a one-hit wonder, like to the mainstream folks. And I just didn't really like the REM people tended to be kind of not my kind of people at the time. I mean, look, man, if you guys are out there and you're like, earthy granola people, I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. But at the time, that's what REM people were, and that really wasn't me. And so in my high school, it was like, if you're listening to REM, you need to be like earthy. And I wasn't earthy, so I didn't listen to him. Taxman says he's 41, so yeah, a little younger than me. So they were probably mainstream when you start listening to them. But in the beginning, anything prior to Document, there were no hits. You weren't listening to that shit on MTV. It was all college radio. So you had to kind of seek them out to find them. Now they're they became one of the biggest bands, of that 90s, 2000s, well, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Starting with The One I Love, and then you go to that End of the World as We Know It. And you got Pop Song 89 and Orange Crush, Stand, Shiny Happy People, Losing My Religion, Country Feedback, et cetera, et cetera. And you're off on the run. And you get into, Man on the Moon, Drive, Night Swimming, But at that time they were mainstream. I never saw them in concert, though. I never really felt moved to see them in concert. I feel like I like them more now than I did when they were active. I mean, I know Michael Stipe and all people will say, Michael Stipe's such a liberal. I mean, yeah, but I don't really care. Like, if he wants to go out there and talk a bunch of shit about politics, I'm not listening anyway. So, you know, I mean, if he wants to talk about that, sure, he's earned that, but I don't care. Just my political views are not going to be affected by Michael Stipe. I do think it's interesting that he was having such heart-to-heart conversations with Kurt Cobain around the time that Cobain died. And I strongly suspect that Stipe has a much better idea of why Kurt Cobain chose suicide than he has led on. He's talked about it, but he hasn't really gone into detail about it. And I strongly suspect that he's got a great idea that was about to go down. And I'm not saying that he let it happen or whatever. You never really know, but I don't think he's been as upfront about it as he could have been. He doesn't owe it to us either, but I'm just saying. I always kind of felt that way. Let's see. Matt Nunnally says Greg Hardy's about to fight. Here's to hoping he gets knocked out. Oh, man, that's harsh, dude. It's dog-eat-dog world out there, bro. Corny says he's a nerd. Let's see. AU Taxman was saying that he was a nerd at the time when he was listening to REM years ago. And Corny says he was too. Good for you guys. I'm glad you guys were nerds. But you guys aren't nerds now. You guys are beasts. You guys are out here chatting it up on the Brain Drain every Saturday night with a bunch of badass bunker people. D-Lucky included. Others, Ruxpin, who are out there getting it done. Doing the heavy lifting for the rest of us. David the Wizard as well. Okay, Doc. I think Doc's ready to go here, so let's get Doc on the horn. Let's get out. Come here, big boy. Where you at, bro? There he is. Always does me that way. All right, what do you think he's drinking tonight, you guys? Evan Williams Green? Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond? Ruxpin says, REM, are they better than One Direction? You stop your mouth. Although One Direction's a fine group, though. My daughter was completely eat up with One Direction. She's currently 18. This is maybe 5 years ago. Corny says, chatting on the Brain Drain is the definition of Nerdville. Speak for yourself, bro. I'm not a nerd, and I'm here every Saturday night doing this, yo. And I love doing it. Love hanging out with the folks. When we have sports going on, you guys remember when we had football and basketball going on, man, there were tons of people on the show. We got kind of a core group now, but I love you guys. You guys are beasts, every single one of you guys. Corny says, I follow my girl's lead, though. Well, don't we all? G-Bug just says Grapico. I mean, my mom loves drinking Grapico. Like, whenever I say, hey, Mom, because my mom doesn't go out of the house. She's like 76, 77 years old. She don't want to go out of the house, which is cool. And I get all her groceries. I'm always like, hey, Mom, what do you need? And the first thing is always, I need some Grapico. She loves it. Drinks it by the gallon. I'm not as into it, maybe, but it's cool. I guess somebody asked, what do y'all drink tonight? I don't see that question because we got an Old Crow, we got a Grapico, we got a Thunderbird. And Corny believes the Doc is drinking White Lightning. Let's find out. My man. What does it say? Like, get on your knees and titty D's or something like that. What does it say? I forgot.
Hello?
Who I got on the horn right here?
Oh, my God. Hold on. Follow here. Cheese grits and freaking dog tits, baby. What's going on?
What up, Doc? It's awesome to have you on the show again. You're an absolute beast, and everybody's wanting to know how you been.
Well, let me tell you, speaking of beast, how about the show tonight? Oh, my God. I listened to the first, I guess, probably hour. Did Auburn, what was the first caller? He was a really good basketball guy.
Against the
Auburn
spread.
Alumni or so. What? Against
the spread. That was who that was.
Dude, freaking, I'm going to tell you something. He freaking killed it. I'm kind of with him. I'm like he was kind of unbiased against the basketball team. Good guy. But, dude, getting 148 on, I will tell you this, Coach Tate, you need to get 148 on every single freaking brain drain. That dude is a monster.
He knows too much, Doc. He's too smart. He's too smart for us.
Well, it's tough to be too smart for you. You're kind of a rocket science guy. You know all that kind of stuff. He's the same guy, but it was just so great to hear him. He's incredible. He's got to be on every single freaking brain drain.
Well, he does know his stuff. There's no doubt about that. Well, he starts talking about a 4-eye shade on those tackles. I wonder if we lose some people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear him talk about our defense against LSU. He kind of said, hey, this is what's coming. This is what everybody wants to do. And I'm not surprised, but I loved him talking about that.
Hey, Doc, what are you drinking tonight, brother?
I'm drinking the usual. I've got green Evan Williams. I've got probably, I'm guessing, 122,000 milliliters of green Williams, which is good stuff for me. You know that.
122 milliliters cost you about $5, right?
Yeah, but I mean, let me say, I've only made $5 in the last 6 months, so that's fine for me. I'm doing okay.
I'm drinking the Colonel E.H. Taylor tonight, sir.
Oh, listen, I'm guessing that Colonel E.H. I'm guessing some UAB neuroscientist probably paid for that 4 years. So I'm sure that's going on. What's going on?
Well, we've been, just the usual stuff. Ruxpin says that he just added an app to his phone this morning, and by the afternoon, he was already balls deep.
Oh, my God, dude. I'm so glad you brought that up. Ruxy Poo, we literally, you probably, this is the first time you heard this, but we couldn't find Ruxy Poo last night. It was a huge deal on the bunker and our family that we couldn't find Ruxy Poo. Well, evidently this morning we found Ruxy Poo had ended up with some chick. And he texted Croxy Poo, wanted some rubbers, whatever. But evidently, Ruxy Poo is just a player. Evidently, he's just killing chicks. And so it was very interesting to what we had to go through this morning.
Well, I know that we were searching for him last night, but I didn't know that he and Crocodile were in cahoots trying to find rubbers. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, it was. Listen, this was a new deal for our family. We had no idea what was going on, but we found out a lot of it about it a couple hours ago. So,
yeah,
congratulations to Croxy Poo and Ruxy Poo. But obviously, that's something we need to go over.
Yeah, okay, we'll get that set up. And you also had to get on my case a little bit. I was giving War Damn Eagle some hell, and you said, "Whoa, JG, hey, remember it's family, man. It's family." I wasn't trying to give him too much hell, but.
Oh, yeah. Now, explain. You need to explain to me that I did jump on you for you almost got a family siren. Okay, what was your position on that? I didn't understand that.
Well, he was like, "I'm going out to lunch, and if you guys have a problem with it, you can blow me." And I was like, "Nobody here gives a shit if you go out to eat or don't. I don't need to know." And then you thought I was giving him hell, and I was just saying nobody cares. Like,
well, I guess my point of view on that was that. Nobody had gone out to lunch and everybody was staying inside, all this big deal. He said he was going outside, and then you jumped his case, and that's why I kind of jumped on that.
Well, there's also this, man. I play Call of Duty with him, so I kind of feel like I can give him more shit than the average person.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're not friends. Well, we're not really friends, but we play Warzone, so I feel like I can talk a little bit more shit to him, and he to me.
Well, he's a big balls FG guy. He's got a ton of money. The War Damn Eagle guy, he's got a pool. In fact, speaking of his pool is like an Olympic-sized pool with a high dive. So it's interesting you play Call of Duty. Have you seen his pool?
No, I haven't seen his pool. No, I just play Call of Duty with him. That's all. I'm sure he's a baller.
If you play Call of Duty with him, make sure you tell him to text you a picture of his pool. He is he's just like Knotted Shorts. He's got probably 10 grills. He's got a couple of pool. He's just a very loaded individual.
Well, good for him. He's kicking ass. Hey, can you give us an update on Papa Bear? I'm a little concerned about him.
I think Papa Bear's okay. Okay, obviously Papa Bear is probably the most popular guy on our website.
Obviously,
but you have to understand about Papa Bear. He loves going to hospitals. Okay, the nurses worship him. Okay, so he's one of those guys that if he goes to a hospital, he's going to end up there for 3 days because all the nurses love him. But he's doing okay. His fever it went down today. It went down, I think, 101.3, I think, is where it went down to. So he's okay. He's doing better. We will know a lot more tomorrow because I think the test results come back.
All right. And there is concern that he has the COVID?
Well, I did not want to get into that because I don't want to hear that because that would kill me because I love him so much. But I think his symptoms are different. I think he's going to be okay.
Okay, that's good. I also want to get your opinion on his view. You know, he and Amanda have kind of hit it off, and she calls him daddy now, and I think it kind of gets his old ticker going. Is this a healthy relationship, you think?
No. Coach Tate, it is not at all. The Amanda Papa Bear relationship. Now, this is we'll need to talk about this after all this sickness hits. But Papa Bear, obviously, you know Papa Bear decently well. He has got a lot of problems. He's got a great life, but Amanda and him are really, really tight. And I just don't know if that's a good relationship or a negative. I just don't know. I think we'll find out in the coming weeks. He's a guy, he's 62 years old, okay? The problem with him is about 10 University of Georgia sororities call him every single day to have a party.
God.
And he does it. And he can't say no, and that's his problem.
So he's running too fast trying to keep these people happy, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Dude, he's got a house. He's got a lake house, and the problem is every single girl that goes to the University of Georgia or West Georgia knows he's got his lake house, and they're calling him to come to his own lake house.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, that's the problem. I mean, they're calling Pop. Hey, Papa, you want to come to this lake house? Well, Papa, when he bought the lake house, he was going there twice a year. Well, now all of a sudden these girls go there. They want him there every weekend. So that's the problem.
Well, I understand. That's tough. I mean, has Bull gotten involved and kind of told him to slow down a little bit, or what's Bull's role in this?
Well, I think Bull originally got involved just saying, hey, he loved the fact that Papa Bear was active with these girls.
Yeah.
Well, the problem now, Bull is kind of like me. He's like, man, this is a problem. Papa Bear's got a problem.
Have you thought about having an intervention, like maybe you and Bull, Knotted Shorts, kind of sit down with him and say, hey, man, you know, you're a certain age. Maybe you don't need to be flirting with girls who are 20 years old, and maybe you don't need to be getting naked.
Well, I think you're right there, but it's different with him. Like Knotted Shorts, like he has sex 6 nights a week.
Well, yeah.
So it's hard. You know, it's hard for him to intervene. You know, Bull's got 18,000 women that want him to come to bed with them tonight. So it's a tough deal, but it's something working through it. And we love Papa Bear. Papa Bear is a bunker monster, and we're just trying to get him right.
All right, that's good. We're all obviously gonna be praying for Papa Bear. I mean, you know, we all love him. He's universally adored.
Papa Bear is, Papa Bear's kind of like me. He's the kind of guy he'll go to. Like when I used to go to the what was the spring game. Okay, Papa Bear's like me. He would meet every single player. He would be their favorite person they met. Okay, when they meet Papa Bear, they love him. He's just a great guy. But he's just going through some tough stuff right now, so we got to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got the power of prayer behind him. There's no doubt about it. We love him.
Oh yes, he does.
We love Papa Bear.
But listen, great show. Now listen, I will say that 148. Get him on every single show.
Well,
we need to get. Hopefully, Smitty will call tonight. We need Smitty, but a great show tonight.
All right, appreciate you, and it wouldn't be great ever if you aren't involved. So we appreciate you giving us some time too, Doc.
Well, listen, hey, great job. Have a good one, buddy. Bye.
See you, bro. He gone. Doc was ready to get off the phone, wasn't he? Yeah, Papa Bear has been feeling a little under the weather. So, you know, and Papa Bear has called in, I think 3 of the last 4 shows. We love having Papa Bear on, and he's usually he's breathless trying to keep up with these sorority girls from University of Georgia who live nearby and who are chasing him and who are trying to, they're vying for his affection. And I think maybe it's just, you know, just a point in his life right now when he needs to take a step back and, you know, take a breather and, you know, get right. So we're all praying for Papa Bear, like for reals. I know he really is actually under the weather, so we love him. Ruxpin asks, where's Amanda? Well, you know, she knows the number. We know that because she's called in before. So if Amanda wanted to call in, obviously we would take that. And we've had some people check in with me and say, hey, man, we had Amanda on the show, I think 2 weeks ago. We've had J Bell on the show for the Iron Bowl last year. JG, we should have more girls on the show. And I think that's a great idea, but I feel kind of weird sometimes DMing some of our female posters, many of whom are not known as women, right? Like, I've met them, some of them, or they have contacted me and explained the situation where they're like, hey, I'm a gal, and I don't want to be known as a gal, because I'm afraid of people either sending me pictures or just being assholes or whatever. Because you guys can see, like, Amanda on the board, she's kind of played it to where people really aren't ragging on her, but, like, there's been some other times when some of our female posters have, Gonig Buck has had a tough go of it at times. Not lately, but at times. And I think for some folks, some gals, they would rather not be known as the girl on the message board. So they pick a name that's like, it's not girly, so you never know. So they don't really want to be on the show. I mean, I guess we could just say, hey, this is, Jennifer, and I'm not going to tell you what her handle is, or whatever. Maybe we could do that too. Let's see. War Eagle 0008, so would love to hear Jay Lee's thoughts on our last scholarship foe 2020 and outlook on hoops recruiting. Let's see if we can make that happen. The problem with Jay Lee is, Jay Lee's the kind of guy, like, he's not a guy that lives with his phone in his pocket, okay? I mean, I have my phone on me pretty much all the time. B-Matt has his phone on him pretty much all the time. Jay Lee? Nah. He kind of adjusts to this new life of, this connected life, this connectivity life. Yeah, he does that, as much as necessary. But I don't think he lets it define him, which is good for him. Let's see. Kyle Wyndham says, or Carcasile says, I just knew Gonig is that poster from Michigan. Yeah, he's up that way. Bob Maplethorpe's in the house. Bob himself into the chat. Welcome, Bob. Glad to have you again, sir. Says a swoogan doesn't have proper grammar and is dealt with accordingly. Yeah, I saw that you had posted a thread earlier. It was like, what are you assholes doing? Nobody can spell shit around here. I was just like, what? Where did that come from? It was pretty funny. Canoe Man says Jay Lee is asleep. I doubt it. He's probably awake, right? It's only 9:30 in the Central Time Zone. He's fine. I had to move that thread, though, Bob, I think, or I had to delete something. I don't remember what. I had to do something about it right before I got on the show. Sometimes people just try to make it political, or they just get real nasty. I thought yours was funny, though. I think I jumped in and said something. Is Buck? Let's see. Crocodile says, I don't know these things, Buck. Sorry. Huh. Corny says, I'm a girl because I like REM. Golden Buck is in the house. Gee, I should have figured that out when it's G Buck. It says blocking DMs. I guess one of the first things she did was block DMs. I feel bad. I just know how guys are, Now you guys are like, oh shit, G Buck is Gonig Buck. Yeah, I didn't figure that out either. I'm sorry, I was slow, but I'm slow on the pickup there. My bad. Crocodile says, I just found out Griffna and Mike CB weren't the same person last week. No, they definitely aren't. They don't have a lot in common, actually. Hey, how you doing, Gonig Buck? I did not put the two and two together, the G Buck. I should have, but I didn't. So glad to have you as part of the chat. Yo, yo, yo. And I don't know. I don't feel like I don't know. I hope I didn't like people. Obviously, there's some folks here that were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a girl. I felt like that was kind of known, but yeah. Sorry about that. If that did happen, I don't feel like that happened to the general population. I think people knew, and I appreciate you saying all good, homie. Who else? I can't remember who it is who's the Queen of the North. I forgot her. Is it original AU girl? I can't remember. I remember asking her a couple years ago about, her experience, and she said it hadn't been bad. I was really encouraged by that. Like, she hadn't gotten a bunch of dick pics or anything, which would be great. That's the goal. Pour one more here. This one's for Gonig Buck. My bad. Appreciate you. I always think of you as like a tandem with Bono's. I don't know if you guys are just playing or you guys really are like pretty tight in real life. I don't know. Sometimes the stuff, I just kind of pay attention to it peripherally. But I always think of y'all as kind of like a team. Let's see, Alpha Tiger in the house. I can always rely on Alpha Tiger to be in part of the chat, like the second half of the show. Love it. Says Swoogan equals the offspring of Gus and Butch Jones. I love when Alpha Tiger, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? You were like, yes, tell me, JG, what is your definition of this word that I made up? Hey, man, if you use it, then I'm allowed to kind of extrapolate the meaning of that word, even if I didn't make it up or it's not in the dictionary. So, yeah. I don't know. A swoogan to me is just kind of an effete, soft penis, just turd, wannabe, simp type person. Corny says, I love the bunker, but I rarely remember which poster posted what. AU Taxman is a funny story, actually. You said didn't realize JG Tate was actually JG Tate. So when I'm playing Warzone, we've got a regiment in Warzone for the bunker. And that's basically a group of guys. You can see all the guys in one place so that if you want to squad up with them, you can see their names very easily. And I jumped into the regiment, which is called AU Rivals. And my name on Xbox, or on Activision, I should say, is Cordless Drill. It's not JG Tate. Obviously, I'm not going to, play on my name or whatever. So I'm Cordless Drill. So I played a game the other day with Double D's and F and Tiger. And I wasn't with F and Tiger to start with. I was with Tiger Time 0099 or whatever. So at the end of the game, we played a whole damn game. Had a decent game. Played 20 minutes. Communicating calls and everything. And I said, yo, are you on the bunker? And he's like, yeah. I mean, I knew he was because his name's the same as his bunker handle. I was like, I guess you're Double D's. He's like, yeah, I am. Oh, what's your handle? And I was like, it's JG Tate. And he's like, holy shit, are you JG? And I was like, yeah, man. I told you guys I was Cordless Drill or whatever. And he was like, I had no idea that was you. So I'm like, all right, he said, I'm going to add F and Tiger. We're not going to tell him. I was like, all right. So it's just me and Double D's and F and Tiger. And then F and Tiger immediately goes, JG, is that you? I was like, of course it is. He's like, it sounds just like you, man. And I was like, yeah, because I sound the same all the time. But Double D's, it never occurred to him. We played a whole game with him, 25 minutes or whatever, communicating calls. He had no idea it was me. But then F and Tiger heard my voice one time and he knew it was me. So that's a long way to say F and Tiger's a better fan of the site than Double D's. I said it here first. Crocodile says, JG Tino's simp. Wow. Come on, man. I got a daughter who's 18. I hear this stuff. Alpha Tiger says, pretty spot-on interpretation of swoogan, JG. Yeah, I mean, I see what you guys are posting. I think you're a good poster, so I read your stuff. Alpha Tiger says as you guys know, Alpha Tiger moved recently. He says he's currently taking his first poop in the new place. Now it feels like home. It's not home until you do that, right? Canoe Man jumps in and says, congrats, Alpha. D Lucky says, king on his throne. I love to see it. Mike CB22's in the chat. Man, that's awesome. I haven't seen you in here before, Mike. Says, me and Griff have tons in common. She's texting me weird stuff right now. I doubt that. I feel like Griff is pretty much straight down the line. But, maybe. Could be. I would be interested. I'd be interested to know if so you're talking about Griffin, right? Griffin is obviously a girl. I don't think she doesn't make it a secret. She talks about her boyfriend, who's the Bammer and she's pretty open about it. I wonder if y'all would think she was cute or not. You guys love to talk about that stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever think about that. Like, I mean, for posters that are girls and you know they're girls. Like, I wonder if she's cute or not. Alpha Tiger says you guys want pics. No, we don't. We definitely don't need pics of that, Alpha Tiger. It's to you and your new home, Alpha. Hope you have a great time there, bro. Just want to savor that one. Man, it's treated me a lot better than that stuff from last week. God bless. Mike CB22 says, yep, cat picks at 1 a.m. on the reg. She's my girl. AU Taxman brings up a good point, though. He says, Mike CB needs to sell back David his avatar. I have to admit, it is confusing to me. Because when I see the avatar, I think it's David the Wizard, and then I realize it's Mike CB when you talk about anal bleaching. Hey, caller, welcome to the show. How you doing?
What's going on, JG? This is Leif.
Hey, what up, Leif? How you been, man?
Did I hear you say earlier that you were watching an OHS and Catholic High basketball game for some reason today?
I got a friend who's either – I couldn't really extrapolate from the story whether he was a coach there or his son plays there, but he was a Catholic fan, and, yeah, he had posted that game. Apparently, Catholic beat OHS in the tournament.
They did. It was a shocker, to say the least.
Yeah, it sounded like that, yeah.
I got a neighbor that's a big Catholic High fan, and I went to OHS. He always likes to text message me about the fish eaters of Parish Avenue beating the OHS guys. That's what he always tells me.
So Davis County's a different deal, though, right?
There's Davis County, there's Apollo, there's Catholic High, and there's OHS. That's
okay,
where I went to school.
Those are your four. Okay. Were you on the Oxford Exxon podcast last night, Leif? I think you were.
Yeah, I was watching it. Yeah.
But Jeffrey was just kind of
because I'm bored.
He was just droning on and on.
Yeah.
I think
he doesn't bother me nearly as much as he does everybody else. I mean, he just likes to hear himself talk. I mean, there's a lot of people that like to do that.
Yeah, hell, I do that too. I've been on here 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm out walking my dog with the drink in my hand. I had made myself a drink with some Legent tonight, and
what did you make? What did you?
Poured it.
What are you drinking? Legent.
Some Legent, yeah, Legent. I call it Legent. I don't know why.
Legent.
Somebody told me that's how it was pronounced.
This is the stuff that's it's a Beam product, but it's a collaboration between a Fred No, the master distiller, a Beam, and then a Japanese guy, right?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, and
it's good.
Anyway, I made it with one shot, a little bit of water, and then another shot on top of it because my dad always used to tell me about when you're making a drink that shots are like titties. One's not enough, and two's just too much. So you got to make it with two.
You like to have too much, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and,
anyway,
one of the tricky things with you is you try to get your kid to go to sleep by driving them around, right?
Yeah, and I'm always every night I'm driving my 2-year-old around, and now I'm walking the dog. So yeah, just the life of a average suburban male. But my wife got upset with me today because something popped up on my Facebook memories. Happened a year ago when my daughter, she was in preschool. She liked to wake up early and watch TV with me. This is when we had Dish Network. She said, "Daddy, can I have the remote?" I said, "Sure." I was just looking on my phone, looking online. And she said, "Daddy, I want to watch a doggy show." To have at it. She loves dogs.
Of course.
Well, next thing I know, I look up, and there is this one rather large man just hammering this chick. And I said, "Maya, what are you doing?" She immediately got scared. She threw the blanket up over her head. And she said, Daddy, what's wrong? I said, you do not need to be watching these shows. She had went online. She'd went on Dish Network and ordered Doggy Style 4. And as a parent, I was obviously upset. But in some ways, you know, she's a preschool girl and she could spell doggy. And so I was like, you know, kind of mad. But, you know, called Dish Network, explained. Then I was like, oh, shit, I got to explain this to my wife.
Oh, boy.
She was not happy.
No, hell no.
Not happy. And that's when I learned about parental controls. And I switched a lot of things on parental controls that day.
That's probably a good idea, man.
Yeah. Anyway, well, hey, I enjoyed listening to the show. It got me through some boring ass times tonight. So
that's good. That's good, Lake.
Anyway,
thank you for being such an awesome supporter of the show and super chatting and all that, bro. I appreciate you.
No problem, buddy. All right.
See you, man.
See y'all later. Bye.
There's Leif. Leif, he's a Rebel Grove guy by trade, but he's over here, and of course we love him over here. From Owensboro, Kentucky. One of the good folks. Corny says Leif is off the rails, but I love him. Yeah, I got some stories to tell you guys about some of that one of these days when I'm really loaded. At my bachelor party. Well, it was one of my bachelor parties right before it. It kind of had a. I'm going to tell you all the base stories so you guys can remind me next time I'm really, really ripped. But when I had my bachelor party, like when I was getting married, at that point I had two groups of friends in my life. I had my high school friends that I had made in Tulsa because I went to high school in Tulsa. And then I had my friends from college, which were in Kentucky. And these folks were definitely different kinds of people. My friends from Oklahoma were absolutely insane, like me. And then my friends in college were like sort of insane, but like definitely more calm, like rational human beings. And so when you take those guys and put them together, you know, there were some problems. That nobody got in a fight or anything. It wasn't like that. It was just some of the things that they were into. The other guys were like, holy shit, are you really into that? I just don't know if it's appropriate for the show. If administrative assistant was here, I could probably run that by her because she knows the story. But that's a story that you guys definitely need to hear at some point. I don't know where administrative assistant has been. That was a pretty good story from Leif, though. Wanted to see his young daughter wanted to see the doggies. Turns out it was, Doggy Style 4. It's not good. Is Mike leaving? Let's see. Mike CB says me and the wife are about to start taking fireball shots. Going to be a long day at the beach tomorrow. Pray for me, fam. We love you, Mike CB. Hang in there, bro. Matt Nunnally says Doggy Style 4 is a classic. That may be one of the classic calls we've ever taken here. Corny says I heated 8 wings 7 hours ago and there are 2 left. Yeah, I don't. I'd say I want to run that by administrative assistant D Lucky and just make sure that she would approve of that. I don't know. So you guys know she's been out of work since whenever the hell this was. When they shut down child care centers here in the state. Well, they didn't really shut them down. They changed the ratios to a point where it was no longer feasible to have the center open. That's changing next week, so she's going back to work, which is good and bad. Good because she's making money because she wasn't making much money before. Hey, what's going on?
What up?
Bad because I've been really enjoyed hanging out with administrative assistant like every day. I'm going to miss going back to a regular routine with you, although we had lunch pretty much every day, so it's all good. I was talking to them about the story when we were getting married, like in Louisville, before we got married, and how my friends from high school, my friends from college had some different ideas about stuff. Do you think I could tell it? Is there a way I could tell that story that would be appropriate? There's 0 chance? There's no way I could tell that story. Are you sure? She says there's a 0% chance that I could tell that story. I think there's a 1% chance, and I'm willing to give it a try. She says this is a business. Koenig Buck is headed out. Koenig Buck, appreciate you. You're a bunker luminary, and I appreciate you being around, being part of the show tonight too, or being in the chat and whatnot. Appreciate you. The canoe man. No, man, I can't really redact names because the names don't matter. What matters is that it was the activity that was the problem. It wasn't illegal. It was just immoral, questionable. Corny says, Courtney is a name I always fantasized my girlfriend was named. That's interesting. I have also thought the name Courtney was really, really awesome before I met this one. Because I had friends before that were named Courtney, and I was like, they're all pretty hot. Although Courtney Cowan was not hot, but who that right there? So I can't. There's no way. Is there any? Come on, Courtney. There's got to be one way. Why not? Thought you already found one. I don't know, man. Rabin says roll the dice.
No. He's got to sleep here.
Courtney has a good opinion, good point that it is a business. This is a show. And, I mean, sometimes I talk to Gus, I don't want Gus to be like, damn, I didn't know he was that kind of guy. But, yeah, I'll probably tell you guys that story at some point. There's no way. Courtney, is it really that bad? Here, hold on. Here's what I'm going to do, guys.
No, you're not.
No, seriously, I want you to hear this. I'm going to turn my mic off, and I'm going to explain to you how I would explain it to them, and I'm going to see if you think it's doable. No, we're going to do this. Hold on. Can you all hear me? Oh, wait, you guys can still hear me. I don't think there's a way I can do it, guys. I was kind of explaining it to her, and she actually told me to cover my mouth. It was the way I thought there was a way I could do it, and then I got about halfway through the story, and she was like, "No, there's no way." So
I was there. I know there's no way.
no, actually, you weren't there. You weren't there for that. Anyway, I would love to tell you that. So I've always kind of been. Sorry about that. It's a little hot. I've always been big on telling you guys, being totally truthful with you guys about stuff, but Kyle Crocodile says covering your mouth doesn't do anything if you keep the mic on. Dude, I unplugged the mic. There's no way. Oh man. You Taxman says, damn, that's amazing. Let's see. Alpha, was he giving me hell? If your wife knows the story, it's probably not too inappropriate for us.
Yes, it is too inappropriate.
She says it's too inappropriate for us. Here's the problem. It's
not because that is, but
the problem is that it involves porn. So
it's a business.
Once it involves porn, it you know what I mean? But I mean, Courtney, it was 1997. I mean, come on now. It was 23 years ago. Anyway. Mike CB says, hey, guys, my mom, Courtney Cowan, just signed up for the bunker. She's been lurking on my account for years. Welcome her. Courtney Cowan. That's funny. Courtney Cowan was a FIMU at my school. I like Courtney Cowan. She's nice. I hung out with Courtney Cowan at Trancy, and she was a nice girl. I enjoyed hanging out with her. Nice girl. Corny Mofo says porn is legal. I rest my case. Pocket Watch says you made it? No, I didn't make it. Webb is concerned. He says, damn it, we've just moved into porn. No, I'm not really. That's not true. Well, I thought I would be able to tell that story, but I guess not. I can't believe there's not a way to tell that story. I'm going to try it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it, and then you can tell me no if I... All right. I was really going to try. All right, so we're moving on. Haven't heard back from Jay Lee yet. I tried to tell them earlier that Jay Lee was, he doesn't keep his phone on his hip all the time. He's got, he's kind of in a way, he's kind of an analog guy in a digital world, and I mean, I don't even think he would argue that, which I consider a compliment. When I went down to see my friend, me and J-Dub were down in Monroe County, Alabama the other day. I had a chance to drink some Natty Light and some Bud Ice. We got some tall boys, and they were as bad as I remember. That tasted like absolute piss, Courtney. We got some tall boys and drank those. I also ate some maple bacon potato chips, which also tasted like ass. It was these right here. I don't know if y'all can see those. Oh my God, we got a call coming in somehow. Oh my God, I know who this is. Hey caller, how you doing? Welcome to the show, yo.
JG, I'm back. How you doing?
I knew you'd be back, bro. How are things going?
I'm back, baby. Good. How you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm still here, and I was trying to tell that big story about my bachelor party, but administrative assistant shut me down.
Yeah, that's probably good you didn't tell that. You don't want to get in trouble with the wife.
Yeah, I trust her judgment on these things. She's not someone that generally slows me down, but she thinks, from a business perspective, it's probably not the best story to tell.
No, hell no. She sounds like a cool lady.
She
just
is
trying to protect you.
She's cool. So I haven't talked to you in about an hour and a half, Ruxy. What's been going on, bro?
I mean, I just been watching the drain. I wanted to bring back up. I know y'all were talking receivers earlier, but I didn't get to talk to you about that. That and then the D-line edge rush this next season.
Are you shitting me? Or are you serious? You really want to talk about this right now?
Yeah, we don't have to if you don't want to.
I'd rather talk about the hot chicks you're slaying, bro.
Well, that all right. So I told D-Luck you in chat earlier that's gonna be 2 for 3. So that the second one got moved to tomorrow tentatively. So
you're gonna wait. Hold on. You're gonna do something on Mother's Day?
Yeah. What's my ex-girlfriend? And I think my mom likes her more than me anyway. So
why is she your ex though, dude? Is she crazy?
No, I'm crazy. I'm a cartoon character.
Oh, okay. Is she hot? Like you said that the girl earlier was a 6.
Yeah.
What is this ex-girlfriend?
She's an 8, but she's a classy lady, so pretty much a 9.
So she's a classy lady. Was she tired of your shit, or what was the problem here?
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of go off the rails sometimes, so I mean, I can't blame her. Looking back, I've been mad at her before, but we still keep up and everything. And one of her friends fucking hate me. Or sorry for the F word, but her friends hate me, and they've kind of had it out for me forever. So we can't get back together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
this can't happen.
But you can have a little Mother's Day sojourn.
Well, she still likes hanging out every once a quarter, maybe once every 3 or 4 months.
Quarter? Yeah, you can still kind of just have a informal meeting or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those when you you're getting with your ex and you're both so into it because you're oh my god, it could have been so good, blah blah blah, and she's crying and you're oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's just the thing.
Corny asked, did this girl lick your fingers? Has she ever licked your fingers?
Yeah. God damn it, Corny. Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
that's a step
you know,
forward.
some girls have a what's it called? Something fatuation.
Oral.
Oral, but yeah,
Oral
but the
fixation.
thing that, yeah. But like, I guess a penis shape, which a finger is like a small penis. Oh shit! Should we be? I don't know if I should be saying that on the brain drain, man. Damn.
Administrative assistant says you might want to wrap this one up, bro.
Okay, I mean, I wanted to talk wide receivers and D-line, but, you know, we had to go this way. But
no,
anyway,
I did. I led you down a bad road, Rux. I'm sorry, bro.
yeah, but talk about the D-line and the edge rush we might get next year with Jay Lee if he ever calls it.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty good. Hey, Rux, man, I want you to pull through tomorrow. I wish you the best, and I think you're going to absolutely close like you always do because you're a beast, and that's why you're Ruxy Poo, and that's why we love you, man.
Yes, sir. Love you, JG. You have a good night, brother.
Thank you for your super chats, too, Ruxy. You're the best.
Yes, sir.
Good luck, man. All right, he's out. Ruxy Poo. Courtney, he's going to actually lock it down on Mother's Day. Courtney says, it's amazing how many of these callers can lock it down anytime they want. Seriously, you can doubt David the Wizard a little bit, but I think Ruxy does. I think he does work. He does work. D Lucky says, I love it. Rux is I love it. Rux is banging a chick for his mom's Mother's Day present. That's right, man. Cornium, yeah, I asked your question, so I hope that you were able to take that information and get to whatever conclusion you were going to run there. Crocodile says brain drain is off the rails tonight. AU Taxman says good Lord Ruxpin. D Lucky says WTF. Corny says every girl I dated licked my fingers. Why are you giving me that face? Yeah, why? Well, I know, but you said in the midst of this virus. But I mean, there was a lot of life going on before this virus hit, right? There were a lot of fingers licked. It's not nasty. It's not inherently nasty to lick somebody's fingers.
People don't wash their hands. It's nasty.
Well, in this COVID era, yeah, but prior to that, nobody cared about that stuff. Love the Cat says, y'all need to chill. My children watch this show. We're just talking about fingers. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's something that you use to eat with, right? Mike CB says, your children are in here? Alpha Tiger better exit before his ankle monitor goes off. Mike CB, that's precious coming from you, brother. Like one step ahead of the law at all times. Canoe Man says, D Lucky, funniest thing I've read on the drain. Well done, sir. What D Lucky said was, who cares about wide receivers? More on the X with the phallic oral fixation. The brain drain has definitely picked up steam. Oh, guess what, guys? We're over 3 hours now. It's now 10:08 in the Central Time Zone, 11:08 in the Eastern Time Zone for our friends that are on the East Coast. Leif says, my child watches this show too, but you know she's seen worse. Did you hear his story earlier, Courtney? That his daughter, yeah, she's probably heard. She's probably aware. How about that? Webb says, no, I'm not going to say that, Webb. I'm not going to say that on the show. Well, Pocket Watch says 1 a.m. Beaches. Yeah, we're not going to go to 1 a.m. I mean, it's my fault. I don't think I can go to 1 a.m. But I think you guys can. We've had some great callers tonight, though. My goodness. This might be the best night we've ever had from callers' perspective. I mean, we started off with Against the Spread, who was like, super serious and stuff, which is a great way to start the show with. We've kind of moved into the realm of absurdity, which is great, which is the way I like it, I mean, you guys don't know this. You guys see me. It's kind of like when you're growing up and you see your parents and, your mom is, your mom's a real person, but you don't see her as that when she's your parent because you're a kid and she's a mom and you don't really understand that she's a real person. I think you guys don't realize, not you guys, but I mean, a lot of the people in the bunker don't realize it. They say, well, JG's a mod. JG's the the publisher. JG's the number one mod or whatever. Yeah, but JG, I like to have fun, man. I like to talk smack. And if I was a poster on the bunker, I would be like Mike CB. I would be somebody that talked crazy stuff like that. I know I would be. Because I don't ever think of Mike CB. He's just crazy talking stuff. He doesn't get into politics, and he doesn't get personal with people. He just talks crazy stuff all the time. And I feel like that's what I would do if I was a poster. And you guys are like, no, not y'all. Not the folks who are watching the show, but there's other people in the bunker that are like way more tight, and they'll report stuff that is like so mild and weak. It's not even a big deal, and like, this is an outrage. It's me or him. And I'm like, really, over this? And then you guys are like, hey, you need to share the emails with people. And I'm like, the emails aren't really the good thing anymore. It's the reports. Like, when you can report, if there's a thread you don't like or a post you don't like, you can hit report, you know? Some of the reports that come in are ridiculous. Like, sometimes it is legit, you know? Sometimes people, say stuff that's crazy, or they turn it political for no reason, and that's a legit report. But there's other stuff there are the times that people say stuff and they'll say, like, I don't know, I'm making up an example here, but like, let's say Mike CB will post something, and it's not even the slightest. I mean, it's not tasteful, but I mean, it's totally within bunker realm. And they're like, you need to take action against him. That guy's a dick. Well, I mean, come on, man. I'm not gonna ban somebody because they're a dick. They've got to do something. I ban people for a particular post or turning things political over and over again. I'm telling you guys, I'm one step away from sending Ayler to Chile. And I don't mean Santiago. I mean way to the south part of Chile. The place where there's no people and there's no electricity. He's going to stay there for a week. I told him today. Next time he screws up, he's going for a week. Thank you for the super chat, Caddy Wampus, one of our favorites. Haven't seen you in the last couple weeks, but I'm glad you're here, bro. Says, Jay, did you have COVID a couple months ago when you were sick? Sorry if you've already discussed. Well, here's the deal on that. Everybody that was sick a couple months ago thinks they had the COVID. And yes, I am in that group, but I think everybody thinks that. I do want to say that somebody who had the same sickness at the same time that I did, which is Joe Goodman. He's a columnist for AL.com, and I hung out with him a good amount in February because he was covering some Auburn basketball games, and I was covering some Auburn basketball games, and I love Joe. And we hang out all the time because I really like him. He found out he had a physical the other day, and he put this on Twitter, so I'm not like, violating HIPAA violations here or anything. He said on Twitter that he took an antibody test as part of his physical, and he tested positive. Not tested positive. He showed antibodies that he had the COVID before. So I strongly believe that I had it. But, I mean, hell, we all do, right? We all had some bug in, like, December, January, February that was totally tearing our ass up, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. And we went in to get looked at, and our doctor said you tested negative for flu and you tested negative for strep, and I don't know what the hell's going on. So go home and chill out for a few days, and you'll be fine. Which is what happened in my case. I was really sick for, like, parts of 3 days, and then I was good. But I don't ever get sick, so it was a big deal. I don't know. Let's see. Canoe Man says, I report every BMAT post. Pocket Watch says reports should be public. And that would be kind of interesting. I would support that. Although occasionally the reports they'd be better off saying private. Because they're like private squabbles between members. I don't really want that getting out, but anyway, Crocodile says R.I.P. Ayler. Yeah, Ayler's walking a very fine line. I'm trying to give him a little bit of space, but he's being a dick, kind of. Where are you going? I don't know. Oh, my daughter's home. That's good. Well, we still have a curfew here in Montgomery at 10 o'clock, so I'm glad she's home. Webmore says, would love to know the phone call-in number. Oh, you give me the sign? Have I been drinking? I'm getting the wrap it up sign. Attention, D Lucky. Getting the wrap it up sign. Ruxpin, I don't know what you're doing with that, dude. Ruxpin just drew a 38 symbol. 8 equal D. See, someone needs to tell him to wrap it up too. Webmore says, you've got the Rona gene, JG. Raven says you bought all the toilet paper after you had the COVID. Raven says, has Ayler been given the location of the tailgate? Let me tell you something. Dude, Knotted Shorts and those guys, I would assume Hooter, because he's always over at Knotted Shorts' place. I reckon that he's met Ayler. Because I think Ayler's just a BS, troll account. And that's how I feel about it right now. But Knotted Shorts will insist, and you guys can ask him this, because he's welcome to talk about it. He has before, that he's met him. I don't know. War Eagle 0008 says we're not even close to Ole Miss. You're fine, JG. Was Ole Miss the drunkest I've been? I was tore down. Was it 2 weeks ago? I mean, I look back at the video. I was like, well, some guys, I gotta go. I was really, really bombed. D Lucky with a super chat. D Lucky, who's been a great, great caller. Everybody drink and join. Uh-oh, he said we got to drink, Cordy. Because it's D Lucky and we do what he tells us. That's why. What? Huh? I probably better go a half shot, D Lucky. I got to wake up in the morning, bro. D Lucky says, everybody drink and join the banter tonight. This is the sponsor. Whoa. This is to sponsor the 30-minute warning sign for next week. Did you hear earlier? He was talking about how when you give the wrap-up sign, everybody needs to know.
Exactly.
That's for you, D Lucky. Right there, brother. I'm assuming you guys are all going to hit it. Corny says, Ayler has liked some of my stuff lately. Yeah, that's a bad sign, bro. Webb says, wait until the Auburn Ole Miss game. Yeah, McCready was talking about maybe we were going to do something for the Auburn Ole Miss game this year. Because Neil, let's see, Ole Miss is here this year, right? No, were they really? Was Ole Miss at Auburn this year? I don't remember. Oh, that's right, he was. He was supposed to come over here and he didn't do it. Well, I'm not. Would I go to Oxford? I don't know. I like hanging out with Neil, though. He's pretty cool. Laura's pretty cool. Hey, I don't like your negative attitude. Leif says 2 shots, not 1 or 3. I've had more than 2, brother. No, Hornacious, man, I love you, dude, but no, I'm not doing another shot, dude. I got to live this down. It took me 2 days to get over that shit last week, man. I was miserable for 2 days after that. Part of the problem was that stuff was just too hot. Dude, I'm not drinking another sip of that Larceny Barrel Proof. I have finally found a bourbon that was just absolutely too much man for me. I can't do it. I can't drink it again. It was too hot for me. So my new rule is, old granddad, what are you laughing about? She's laughing at Leif. Old granddad 114 is now officially, as of today, the hottest shit I'll drink. I'm not drinking this 123 stuff anymore. It just tore me up. Leif says, I wish there was some sort of schedule Jay could look at. Where's this Ole Miss game? I don't know anything about it. Is it on September 19th at Ole Miss? I don't know. I don't know why you guys would think that it would be. It's funny that Raven is the one that's telling me take a multivitamin before you go to bed. I'm usually the guy giving out hangover advice to you guys. I usually do. I usually follow the standard, protocols, which is make sure you're hydrated. I've been drinking water tonight. You guys have seen that. And you got to get a couple things in your system. Here, I'll go ahead and take one right now. I'm taking an Allegra right now. Allegra's one of the things you're supposed to take. Let's see. Ruxpin says, do you dadgummit. Hold on, I got to back up here a little bit. Mike CB says Courtney Cowan will rid the bunker of political posters. She's coming. I hope not. I love Courtney Cowan. She's a nice girl. I just didn't, Ruxpin says, do y'all drink during G-Pits? I do. Here lately in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Neil's been drinking. I don't think Gabe drinks a lot. I think Gabe, I don't think he hates drinking or anything. I just don't think he drinks a lot. And I also think Gabe is a little more concerned about if I drink on G-Pits, it's going to affect my brand or whatever. I don't care. Obviously, I don't care. Although I was going to tell you guys the story about my bachelor party, and then Courtney was like, no. So I probably wasn't made to make those kinds of decisions. Not the best there was. Let's see. Ruxpin says, I hope JG didn't upset any young callers getting me to talk sex, S-E-C-T-S, sex instead of football. Webmore says Gabe is locked in his pantry. He's got a background now, though, Webb. It looks a lot better. Matt N says, hair of the dog on G-Pits. Canoe Man says Gabe does not have alcohol in the pantry. War Eagle 008 says Gabe is more into his spice cabinet. And then Leif B says, Como don't care, Gabe. We love Gabe. Gabe is a straight guy for us, man. He's super serious, I think. But we like him. He's good people. I need to get him a new headset, though. If you noticed, I feel like it's too trebly. Not enough bass in it. Ruxpin says, I like G-Pits. I think we need more bunk support there. Yeah, it's pretty much an Ole Miss show. We don't talk about Ole Miss, but it seems like 95% of the people who listen to that show are Ole Miss people. And the reason, I think, is that people in the bunker don't like Neil because he mocked the prayer circles. Although he would argue that he didn't mock them. He was not mocking the prayer circles themselves. He was mocking the coach promoting the prayer circles, I think would be what he would say. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, damn. What happened? Oh, my daughter's here. You had to come in because of the curfew's at 10, right? What are you showing the South Alabama? We're very happy for you going to school here in August with your friend Cassie, right? Your room. She knows her roommate. Maddie knows her roommate. And they're the buddies now, right? She's from Illinois. Anything else you can add? Okay, deuces. D Lucky says Neil pisses off, and I was a fan of his from when he used to piss off the Bammers in Mobile. Hell yeah, I know you were in Mobile back in the day. Yeah, I just don't get involved with the prayer circle thing. I kind of saw his side of it. I saw why y'all got pissed off, and I was like, I'm just staying out of it. I don't really have a way to win here. AU Taxman says Neil seems to be less of an ass these days than he was at the time of the prayer circle comment. Yeah, I would agree with that. Here's the way it looks like. Here's the way it goes for me. I really like Neil. I didn't back 10, 15 years ago. I was kind of I liked him, but I kind of was bothered by him because he was just too fucking sour. And he was just bitching all the time. He was a miserable human being. Now, he is, I'm telling you guys, there was a time, I remember I hung out with him at a Rivals camp maybe, I don't even remember when that would have been. I was at Rivals, so it would have been 13 maybe. So 7 years ago. And I thought, this dude's not going to make it. He's literally not going to make it. 10 years from now, Neil won't be alive. He was so miserable and down and just in a really bad place. And I was like, man, I'm trying to help him, but I just don't know how to help this guy. And here we are 7 years later, and he's doing great. He's turned so much of it around, and he's a great dad, and he's a great husband, and he's got a much better attitude on things. And I'm telling you, of all the friends I've had in my life, he's made more progress than any of them. So he's a pretty cool dude, man. I really like Neil. I know that you guys don't get to see that part of him, really. Because I've known him 20 years or whatever. And you guys got to get turned off by the prayer circle thing, which was kind of bullshit. I don't really want to get on his case about it. I leave that for you guys. But because the prayer circle, I don't have any personal vested interest in that, right? Like, if he wants to sit there and mock them for that, I think it's dumb, but whatever. It's not my business. It's not something I'm going to do. If Ole Miss is going to do that, or State, or whoever, they're going to get in a prayer circle. I'm going to take a picture of it and be like, hey, man, that's good. Because I'm somebody who, not that, I don't know. I can't really get on Neil about it, because then it's like I'm kicking my friend while he's down or whatever. Ruxpin says, what up, Maddie? We don't want Ruxpin talking to Maddie, Court. Good for you, though, bro. Ruxpin says, just glad JG is dealing with Georgia and Bams. Isn't dealing with Georgia and Bams. I don't really deal with Georgia fans too much, but we have a lot of friends that are Bams. Me and Courtney. And fortunately, our BAMs are actual Alabama graduates, which means they're not insufferable. So it's okay. But I've learned, it was tough in the beginning. 15 years ago, I would have preferred to be friends with Auburn people just because I don't want to hear their BAMs. I just don't want to hear their shit. You guys know what I'm talking about. The 15 national titles and all that crap. I just don't even want to hear it. But our friends who are BAMers, like, they're actual graduates, so they don't really play that game. They don't really do that, so it's cool. War Eagle 0008 says, as a G-Pits listener, I like Neil. I think he's reasonable and relatable. I'm glad to hear you say that. Matt N says, I paid too much money for the USC show, but I've got it muted and I'm listening to the brain drain. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for listening to the show. I've not been able to watch the UFC. I probably wouldn't watch that anyway. And I also would not watch the Korean baseball. If you guys are watching that, that's cool, but I'm not going to do that. I will watch the race at Darlington next week for NASCAR. I like NASCAR. So, although my man J-Dub was kind of challenging me, he's like, "Yo, if you're a NASCAR fan, you gotta have a driver that you give a shit about." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And so we kind of went through the list of the top 30 drivers, and then we decided that I'm going to be a Keselowski fan. I like Keselowski. See, I'm one of the Dale Jr. fans. Now, I understand that Dale Jr. was not a great driver. He was a good super speedway driver. Other than that, he was pretty pedestrian. But, back in the day, I used to cover Talladega for the Montgomery Advertiser. Josh Moon would help me a lot because he knew a lot more about it than I did, but whatever. We had a hot pass. We had passes. We went backstage. We went and talked to people in their trailers. Dale Jr. was the coolest dude. Of all the major celebrities I've ever interviewed, Dale Jr. was the coolest dude. Offering us beer, hanging out, Xbox, all that shit. He's cool, man. He is super cool. So I'm going to be a Dale Jr. fan forever, and I'm going to be a Dale Jr. apologist forever. And I love Dale Jr. And Keselowski is one of the guys that Dale Jr. signed to JR Motorsports in the Nationwide Series. So it's either him or Mark Truex. Those are the two guys that Dale Jr. signed. And I'll just take Keselowski. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Bo is great. My man, Bo is great. Says, so Jay has two people on his hall pass. Christy Malzahn and Neil McCready. Neither are interested in me. Yeah, that's true. I like Christy. Christy, when we went to Gus's house, Christy was more interested in talking to you than she was to me. Courtney? The way I look at that is a game recognized game, because Christy is a baller. She's a very interesting person. Absolute beast. You guys know I love Christy Malzahn, and I will defend her to the tilt. There's nothing that she could do that I would not defend her for. And my wife is also kind of that person. I would obviously defend my wife too, but you and Christy are both two people that just don't feel like you got to be demure. All right, let's see. Ruxpin says, I'm drunk. GTG. See you on the bunk. All right, Ruxpin. Appreciate you, brother. WebW says, JG, you need to ask Neil about dating Sharon Alonzi from 60 Minutes. I don't know that joke. I will ask him next time. We are for those 5 of you who are G-Pits fans on this show, we are not going to tape tomorrow because it's Mother's Day, and I think Neil and Gabriel are doing mother stuff. I met Gabe's mom. I think her name was Barb. Is that right, Courtney? I think it was Barb. I'm almost sure of it. She was cool, man. And then her mom, Gabe's dad was a little tough. But he was a copy editor at the Kansas City newspaper, so those guys are tough usually. Not surprised by that. WebW says she is the reporter on 60 Minutes. Well, I mean, I don't watch 60 Minutes. I'm not 100 years old. I feel like that's the only people who watch 60 Minutes. D Lucky says, just want to note, Wiz still ain't here. Hey, to be fair, Dave was on earlier. He says, my man is crushing it. I feel it in my spirit. If he goes in, we all go in. Come on, D Lucky. You know what I'm talking about, bro. Corny Mofo says, who watches 60 Minutes? Not me, man. I don't watch 60 Minutes. My mom does not watch 60 Minutes. My dad does. Ain't no way my mom does. My mom watching Gus Fieri's grocery games or whatever. My mom cannot get enough of the Food Network. Food Network and QVC is right up my mom's alley. All right, here's the deal. D-Lucky, you would know this. I got the wrap it up signal about 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to wrap it up for reals. Webmore, I don't know who you're talking about, but I'd like to know. He says she's still hot. Oh, you're talking about Christy Malzahn. That's probably who you're talking about. If you want to know my opinion, I think Gus did well for himself, but, you guys don't care. I don't know. Who cares? Love the Cat says he also dated that chick on Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury. Dude, if he hooked up with Angela Lansbury, oh, come on, Corny. He's doing better than that. Corny Mofo says Wiz is, I ain't going to say it. No, he's not. She's a very pretty girl. You shouldn't call her a cloth. Looks like AU Taxman's taking off. Listen, if AU Taxman's taking off, I'm taking off. Because AU Taxman's been here from the beginning. And I got the wrap it up sign like a while ago. It's 10:33 in the Central Time Zone, 11:33 for our friends on the East Coast, 8:33 for our friends out on the West Coast, like maybe Corny. I don't know if you're on the if you're on Mountain Time or you're on Western Time, whatever it's called. Webmore says Sharon Alfonsi. He is not hooked up with Sharon Alfonsi. There's no way. There's no way. I'd like to hear some actual deets on that. I don't believe it. War Eagle says starting 5 for 2021 hoops. No, I'm not doing that, yo. We're too far now. We're too far now. I love the Cat says it's 1 a.m. somewhere. How dare you, brother? Man, our viewership's been pretty steady tonight. I'm surprised. Let me give a shout out to all of our awesome super chatters. Web Moore says he dated her at Ole Miss. I have not heard this story. Raven also says, by the way, good night, JG. Happy Mother's Day to administrative assistant. Wasn't that thoughtful? She appreciates that. Our super chatters, Austin M, War Eagle 0008, Corny, Web M, who I know had more than one tonight. Stu Pup had more than one tonight. Ben B, Stephen P with a big one. Appreciate you, brother, from Denver, coming all the way from Denver. Ruxpin had a bunch. Stu Pup again. Crocodile, Hornatius, Leif B, Canoe Man as well. Caddy Wumpus. D Lucky. Man, great caller. And I know I'm missing somebody here late. Who am I missing? I'm going to figure this out, yo. Also got Caddy Wumpus, D Lucky, and Love the Cats again. Hornatius. That's what it was. My bad, bro. Appreciate you. Let's see. Leif Benson says, does the wrap it up sign involve an index finger on one hand and the index finger and a thumb forming a circle with the other hand? Wait, what? You know what he's saying? You know what he's suggesting? Sounds like a good G-Pit story for you, JG. Yeah, here's the thing about G-Pits, though, man. I think Laura listens to that show. So I don't know if Laura knows that story, and I don't want to get him in trouble. And I definitely don't want Laura mad at me, because if I don't, as long as I keep Laura on my side, then I know she'll feed me olives. And that's really what it comes down to. What are your thoughts on Laura? She's a nice girl. She's a good cook, too. All right. Want to bounce, y'all. Just for the record, Hornatius, we've been on the air 3 hours and 34 minutes. Well, 3 hours and 35 minutes now. We've been on the air. I actually got on pretty promptly today at 7 o'clock. It is now 10:36 in the Central Time Zone, 11:36 for our friends in the Eastern Time Zone. We've had a great show. Against the Spread kicked us off. We've also been joined by a bunch of other great callers, and our super chatters, as I mentioned earlier, were incredible. And all of our chatters have been incredible tonight. For those of you who are female and who are mothers, happy Mother's Day. If you're a female and you're not a mother, you're a badass anyway, too. That's how I feel about it. Appreciate y'all being on the show. We will be back next Saturday for another show. Webb, we're going to get you taken care of, brother. Send me an email, bro. I'll get you hooked up on the number. I don't want to put the number out. But just send me an email. I'll take care of you, bro. Love the Cat says, I got on late at the golf cabin. I know you've been out. But, Leif, why are you sending me those? Yo. Why are you putting those emojis on the show? Did you see those? Oh, she's looking at something else. All right, cool. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all. Been a great show. You guys are the best. Until I see you guys again, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. See y'all.